But yeah, man, I've been shooting this baby for a minute, and I mean, I haven't been doing anything for a while. And you coming in and saying that you willing to come in, I was like, what? That's what's up, because a lot of people are scared of this quarantine status now.
I haven't got in it, and the thing is, I fear it more because I'm a diabetic.
You're a diabetic?
Yeah, I'm a diabetic.
Yeah, I think you did mention that.
And what,
Did you even be drinking beer?
Well, the doctor said I can drink if it's light.
Okay. All right. It sucks that we've been over this twice. Here you go, brother.
Oh,
cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for being here, and many to come. That's how we get started. The Ernestos. What's up, man? I'm glad you came through, bro.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, doesn't this place look kind of weird though?
No, it's pretty cool.
You mentioned that it looked bigger than it really is, or it looks big in the show.
Yeah, well, that's what she said. So
nice. But yeah, man, I've been shooting this baby for a minute, and I mean, I haven't been doing anything for a while. And you coming in and saying that you willing to come in, I was like, what? That's what's up, because a lot of people are scared of this quarantine status now. We're back on another quarantine, dude. It was decided, yesterday or the day before?
I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I mean, this world is crazy, It's just, you don't even know. I mean, shit, pretty soon they're going to tell you, hey, we're going to give you 2 toilet rolls.
Basically, dude. Like, what the fuck? I mean, let me grab the beers, right?
Yeah, the beer is important.
Yeah.
Brought to you by
Corona. That's the thing we're trying to avoid. All right. It sucks that we've been over this twice. Here you go, brother.
Oh,
cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for being here, and many to come. But yeah, man, it's the world politics is getting crazy right now. You have a different perspective in politics than I do, which is interesting because we used to work how long ago? Maybe 2 years, a year ago. We used to work security together for about 8 months. I remember working there for like 8 or 9 months, dude.
Yeah. You started like January 2019.
Did I?
Yeah, because you came in with Victor, Andrea, then that other guy, I don't remember his name, because he only showed up for like 2 months and then took off to some freaking unknown island near freaking Fuji.
Really? Yeah. That's what happened to that guy?
Yeah, he disappeared. He went to his dad's funeral, and then somewhere in the south, and then he just disappeared. He goes, I got to, situate some stuff for my father and stuff, and because he passed away. And next thing I know, I'm like, hey, what happened to the new guy? And they're like, I don't know. He's somewhere rearranging his father's, land and so forth. And next thing you know,
that's crazy, dude. I mean, people, but that's the revolving door of security, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just people come in, people go out, for the most part, and it's hard to find a good spot you want to stay at and continue just working there. Kind of like what you had. You had a pretty good spot, and how long were you there?
I started October 2012, and I was forced to resign. They gave me 2 options. We can fire you, or you can be forced to resign. And this was just December 4th, 2020. So you got to figure, God. I just hit my anniversary for 8 years, and I was shocked when all of this just happened. I was like, wow.
What?
Yeah. It was
so how many years did you work there? 15?
No, 15.
How many?
8 years and 2 months.
Who was it that was been there? Oh, it was Rick, huh? He's been there for like 25 or something crazy like that.
When I started, Rick had just done 22 years, so he just completed his 30.
Really?
Yeah.
He did 30 years working there, bro?
And they were going to force him out in January. That's what Alex had told me. He goes, yeah, we're going to clean him out because he's old. We need people that are young, that are not fearful to go outside and tell someone, hey, you got to leave. But he would get scared, you know? So they used to send me out there, the enforcer, and tell people, hey, you got to go, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And after a while, I'm thinking like, man, dude, I mean, there's no placards around the building that say it's private property. There's nothing that says you can't be here. I mean, there's signs from Santa Monica that say, hey, you cannot lay here from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's all there is. But in general, you can't tell people, hey, you got to split.
Right.
So, I mean, you were there. I mean, you knew what was up.
Yeah. I mean, they told me I had to do that. I never had to, though. And the times I did catch, like, homeless dudes sleeping in the back, I'll be like, man, he got nothing else. He got nothing else besides one night in a sidewalk under like some trees and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for these people because come on. I mean, they were living once like everybody else in society. I mean, and all of a sudden they're down in the dumps. I mean, now more than ever, now I see fresh faces. I mean, more than usual. And it's kind of like, wow, I mean, like what's going on here? This COVID is really putting everybody who's ever self-employed or even working for someone out in the streets. It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean,
yeah, man. And it's just about to get worse, you know? It's about to get worse because there's no stimulus coming. This eviction shit that the president prevented, it's about to expire on the 31st.
This month?
Of this month.
Oh, man.
Yeah, evictions were halted for the whole year.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk to the president to add an extra few months for the next administration to come in. Yeah. But he's not accepting that, so he's like, that's the last thing on his list on what to do, you know?
Yeah.
And he's actually handing out pardons right now. I hear.
He pardoned the guy that was willing to snitch on him.
Yeah, dude. He's actually like, there was one joke that he's like, he's going around the office just pardoning people that he spoke with. You know, I'm pardoning you. I'm pardoning you.
I mean, for God's sakes, he pardoned the guy we used to work for. What was his name?
Right, dude. I can't. When I saw that, and I wasn't no longer working with you guys. When I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit! He is in ties with the craziest people in the game."
I mean,
for sure.
In the 8 years that I was there, I've met some of the Rockefellers.
Really?
I met.
Should we disclose where you worked at?
I don't know.
Let's just say he's one of the most wealthy individuals in LA. So that sets a lot because LA has a lot of wealthy individuals. Totally. You know?
Yeah.
And it was definitely a guy that got pardoned.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. Know? I mean,
it's just.
I mean, during the whole thing right now, the transition from March to now, I mean, just Santa Monica itself, I mean, has changed a lot, especially what happened in May with all the rioting and all the looting. I mean,
but did you see any of that?
I was at home and I turned it on just to see like
at night.
No, it was like during the daytime, maybe afternoon. And I turned it on and I'm like, they're looting Long Beach and this is what's going on and they're rioting, and all of a sudden they were talking about the security guard from a clothing store who tried stopping people and he got his ass kicked. He ended up going to the hospital for it. So I'm thinking like, ugh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, they did a split screen because I'm watching the YouTube news. They do a split screen. Santa Monica, they're rioting, they're looting. And I'm like, oh my God. Down the street from where we're at. But luckily I wasn't there. But I called the boss and I go, hey, do you guys want me to go down there and assist whoever's down there just to make sure nothing happens? And they were like, you can try, but there's a graveyard of cars from the end of where the pier's at all the way to the end of where the 405 is at. They had pulled people out of the cars, but they had cops watching the freeway. And I'm thinking, yeah, it got really bad. They had to have police officers taking care of people's cars. They had to ask people to get out because it got really bad, which I was shocked. It's like, come on, are we living in The Walking Dead?
Right. Wait. So the ramps to get to Santa Monica,
they were blocked,
piled up with abandoned cars.
Yeah,
from people trying to get to their homes or just driving by.
You know how the freeway is, especially
and because of the riots or because of the protests that were happening.
Yeah, because we were protesting right by what's that, Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah,
and you know how I
saw some video of
the
that.
freeway ends almost into PCH.
Yeah,
well, not that far from PCH. They were gonna start doing the protests, and that's when they were like stopping people. They had halted because they said a lot of people were coming in just for the protest itself.
Right.
And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. Are we in California or what country are we in? It's, are we in Mexico?
Yeah, bro.
It's, because the way it looked like, especially, it looked like it was like, when you're trying to come in from Mexico into the U.S. and you see all these, that's how it looked like. Yeah.
Wow, dude. That's crazy, man. Yeah. And that's another one. The freaking border's crazy, right? Imagine it was so bad before. Now that COVID's in there, you don't want to be anywhere around there, dude.
Have you ever seen that one movie? What was it with Dennis Quaid, where it's like that the weather's changing and has something about tomorrow.
Oh, day after tomorrow?
The day after tomorrow, and the winter's kicking. Everybody's running towards the border.
Right.
And everybody's getting stopped because everybody's trying to. My buddy, he works for INS, and he told me, he goes, dude, people were trying to get into Mexico. Mexico wasn't allowing anybody in. It got really bad. He goes, we had our people stopping people, and they had their military stopping people, and they said it got to the point, but they don't talk about it in the news. See, everything has to be a certain thing where, everything's peaceful, everybody's happy. Oh, look, that guy, he's homeless, but he's smiling. Come on.
Well, the news has so much going with it, right? Like, how can you choose what stories are good enough to go on the news? It's really that guy's fault, And usually, the owner has a lot to say. If it's one of his supporters or if he's politically leaning that way, he's more inclined to be like, yeah, trash that story,
Yeah.
But that's another can of worms, really. That falls into like people's perceptions. Fucking Fox News. That is not even a news station. And they get to have one of the biggest channels on local TV with the biggest ratings.
Yeah.
So, the shit is fucked up. There's no journalistic integrity going on right now, especially, and then you add on the president just gaslighting everything he touches.
No, it's like what you said. The guy's kind of like just pretty much waiting for his last days.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting.
Oh, yeah.
But he's waiting. What are you going to do?
He already won, though.
Yeah.
He already won. He already got 78 or 74 million people to stay on his side, to day so hard that they're gonna go out there and protest.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think a lot of people, they didn't want Trump no more because of all the violence that was happening. And then people didn't want Biden either because he's old. Then you have, nobody really wanted Kamala Harris because, you know, she's like far somewhere on the, was it the left? And people were kind of like hesitant. All right, if we vote Trump, we're going to go civil war. Now we vote left, well, there's not going to be any problem. So everybody's kind of like, all right, so now we won. Now I'm starting to hear people are talking about revolution still. I mean,
dude.
and it's mostly because of all the stores, business-wise, small businesses going out of business, people losing their homes. I mean, and no stimulus is coming in. I mean, that's
Yeah, why didn't Trump just pass all those stimulus, dude? Like, you know what makes me very curious about Trump? Is that as a big mouth as he is, they probably didn't even let him know. I was gonna ask about like secret information, like Area 51 status or any of that. Did he get any privy of any of that? Like, did he get any briefing of that? Because he would have totally blabbed that out in one of the meetings, you know what I mean? So, like, they probably have such a level of ranking that they're like, yeah, this guy's not going to know anything of what we do.
yeah. Well, I think, was it 2 years ago? They let go a lot of information from the past 20 years and they finally acknowledged Area 51 after all these years. So it's kind of, but they're saying, oh no, we don't see UFOs. It's all mostly technology that we're doing there.
Well, like CNN did that one broadcast about UFOs are finally being acknowledged by the U.S. government and all this stuff because Sergeant Major
Tom
Fravor. Tom?
It's Major Tom, like the song.
yeah, I guess. But he's a very respected pilot that has, you know, cases where he has seen dots fly in the sky and he can't keep up with them, you know, and he's flying like the top fucking planes ever. He can barely track it on his shit and his radar, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like 2020 has all the shittiest shit. This year feels like 5 years, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like, too much has happened. Like, I hope 2021's not the same, though, you know? We're gonna get the vaccine. Things are gonna get better, right? What do you think?
I don't know. They're saying that, I guess there's side effects because people are getting facial palsy. Like their faces, the people who have taken it their face has gone paralyzed because of it.
Face has gone paralyzed?
Yeah. Some people have bad side effects, so their face has gotten, you know.
But isn't that like fucking 5% of the population or whatever?
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to live your life like that.
Or get killed by coronavirus.
Come on, we're having corona right here.
Right. Well, and then there's the people that are long haulers, they call them, I guess, where they got the virus, but they still have symptoms, like post symptoms, where like they don't have as much energy as they used to. Their breathing is kind of compromised, like all these issues, like their taste goes away or some shit like that.
They can't smell, they can't taste. My sister-in-law had it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. In May.
And you didn't get it?
No.
Have you gotten yourself tested?
No, not yet, but I
really?
like corona.
That's terrible.
I mean, they weren't forcing us to do it, but I have a feeling by next year they might start forcing
Dude, they're
people.
free, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know they're free.
But the shitty part is the
line.
So
is the virus.
The line is fucking long. The virus, the thing is that you don't get to choose when you get the virus.
No,
you know?
no. I mean, the way I look at things, I've been working since the whole thing.
Dude, I've been working the whole
And
thing.
obviously, I carry my little mask with me. I don't have it with me. It's somewhere in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And it. If we haven't gotten it yet, or have you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't gotten it, and the thing is, I fear it more because I'm a diabetic.
You're a diabetic?
Yeah, I'm a diabetic.
Yeah,
man.
I think you did mention that.
And what
Should
you
you even be drinking beer?
Well, it's the doctor said I can drink if it's light. That's
Okay.
He says I can limit like 3 or 4, but he goes that's as far. He goes, and if you do it once in a while, you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. But you know,
Really?
if you're drinking every day, it's gonna affect you.
Oh, you haven't had a drink
I
in a
haven't
while.
had a beer maybe in about 3 months.
Damn.
Yeah, well, you gotta have to have something to relax, especially
That's
right
really
now.
good, dude. I can only go like 2-3 days, and then I'm like, dude, I need some relief.
But I've been smoking some CBD, you know.
Oh shit, you've been smoking?
Oh yeah, come on, man. I don't like to feel stoned. I just like to relax.
Do you want to smoke?
Oh no, I'm not into the hardcore stuff. Like
I smoke flower. I'm gonna smoke regular weed. Like I don't smoke on that freaking wax. Have you tried wax?
Oh, no.
Oh my god, dude, that's next level. Like I'm not at that level, dude. Like I smoke a lot, but not.
I remember you used to smoke at work. You'd be like, dude, I just puffed some right now, and I'd be like, I couldn't have told if you wouldn't have told me.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell because you were always like wacky and always doing it. So I couldn't tell. I was like,
I was wacky with you because
yeah,
you were like the only one that. As soon as I heard you agree with me with fucking what's his name, Kevin, or what's his name at the front desk that I hate, Alex, him and I. From the gate, dude, of introduction, I got a bad sense of the guy. I fucking despise that dude. And as soon as you said something about him that I was like, he's a douchebag or he's a bitch or whatever, and I was like, dude, you and I can talk, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Everybody used to talk about it.
I fucking hate that dude, bro. He was such a dick, bro.
No, when I first got to the company, I mean, some of the guys would be like, hey, we're letting you know about this guy. He's a little off, you know. And as soon as I saw him walk in, he gave me this look like, and I'm like, oh, this is the guy, you know. Oh man, I was kind of like dreading it. But luckily for me, I didn't have to deal with him all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the only times I had to deal with him was when he worked on my shift. But other times it was like, you know, whatever. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
Until COVID hit and they brought me in from the parking structure into the building, then I had to start dealing with them. And it was constant arguing with this guy. Just like, you got to do this and you got to do that. I go, dude, I've been working 30 years of my life. I go, and you're telling me to do my job? I go, come on, dude. I go, we're not building rockets here.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's simple. It's easy. And he just made something so small into a big thing, and it was very horrible. Even Rick, who had been there 30 years, he was just like, he was stressing out himself too. There were times that they would argue and Rick would take 1 or 2 days off because he couldn't deal with them.
Yeah, man, it's fucking bad, bro. I don't know how you guys supported him as long. I don't know how he lasted that long with so many complaints on his record, and yet you know, management wasn't gonna acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You know, they for some reason he had management in his pocket, dude.
No, I think he had something on someone for him to last that long. I mean, I had read a couple books, and one of them was a book that you ever heard of Mary Buffett? She's, I think, Warren Buffett's daughter. Well, she wrote a book about business and how to manage a business. And in the book, it said, when you have people who are brown-nosing, snitching, creating problems in the environment, usually the business will end up falling apart. And then you have your good workers that are there, have maybe been there for a while, maybe years, like Rick himself, or people that just come in like yourself. What happens is people start to be like, well, why am I here for? Why do I have to go through this abuse when I could just find another job? I mean, myself, was like you had said, I'm surprised you've been there for a long time. Well, I was only there because they had good insurance. I mean, me being a diabetic, I was only there for that long. But then when I was let go, I'm thinking like, man, what's going to happen now? But I've had friends and family pretty much guide me like, oh, get on Medi-Cal, do your unemployment, do this, do that. And I've been doing it and it's been working out for me so far. So it's been kind of like good. I mean, I haven't really been stressing that bad. And I already have something lined up to jump into another job. So, and I already had the interview and they told me, yeah, once you come in 30 days, you get all your package and you're good to go. And I was like, oh man, thank God, because I was stressing.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude. Losing your job is the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling, dude. Like when I got let go, when I got fired from your job, it was the first time I ever walked out from being fired, dude. Like fired like that.
No,
where
of
like,
course.
get the hell out of my office, he said. I was like, fucking douchebag,
No,
dude.
of
He's a
course.
fucking bitch, dude. But honestly, I think that couldn't have ended better. Because if I somehow agreed to their terms, because that's the only way I could have kept the job, and just shut my mouth and I kept working there, I would have done something stupid, dude. I would have done something stupid. Then I would have, probably gotten even more fucked up. Yeah, I would get fucked up there. Yeah, I would get fucked up.
But I'm going to tell you weren't the only one.
Oh yeah, homeboy. What's his name?
Art used to drink and smoke weed at work, and everybody knew. And he used to leave his bottles everywhere in the freaking company.
Dude, he gave me a shot the first day he trained me, bro. It's like, hey man, you want a shot of this? And I was like, no, I'll just smoke a joint. And then later, you want a shot of this now? I was like, all right. Dude, it was so funny with Art, dude. That's another person I was like, I can have. But when I found out that Art wasn't as cool as he was, was when he had a chance to like stand up against Alex and say something to management, and he would be right. And he chose not to. He said that, no, that dude is fucking bulletproof. Like, you can't say anything with management actually doing something that's going to change shit. I've been here too long, son. He said, and I was like, man, fuck that shit, dude. Like, I ain't going to take that shit, Yeah. And he's like, well, whatever, bro. I'm just going to do my shit and get the fuck out of here, he said.
No. Well, he got into some stuff before I got fired.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he got into some stuff.
But he's still there.
He's still there. What they did, he went from the foundation when I think they were moving him when you were there. He was already moved out to another property. Well, when he was at one of the properties, they were finding marijuana joints and alcohol bottles on our ex-employer's property. So what they did was they moved him to his brother's house. And what happened was he left an ounce bag in one of the security offices. And one of the leads found the bag and he was like, oh man, he goes, I just hid it. He goes, I don't smoke this stuff. I just hid it. And he showed it to me. He goes, look what Art left. He goes, a big old bag of weed. And I go, what are you holding on to it for? And he goes, I'm just going to throw it away. But, I needed evidence to show to the bosses. Man, he's like Alex, where he's like this with the bosses because he snitches. Mm-hmm. So what they ended up doing, they moved him partially back at the foundation and at one of the other houses, the third house, which is, the daughter of the main owner.
Yeah, I remember.
So he's doing, both places now. So, yeah, so he's still there. He lucked out. But, the problem was he got rid of me because I don't snitch. I don't brown nose. Mm-hmm. So you're only an asset if you snitch and you brown nose. Right. That's all you are. And myself, I wasn't like, hey, so-and-so. I didn't do that stuff. Mm-hmm. They gave me the option to go, we'll pay you more money if you're willing to, snitch for us. And I go, I'm a snitch. oh, it's that gangster mentality. And I go, no, it has nothing to do with gangster mentality. It's just, I just don't do it. I don't see me pointing the finger at somebody where it's going to become a solution. I go, what you want is to tell the person, hey, dude, don't be doing that, or get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
But what they used to do was they used to keep you around and then kind of like manipulate you till you get to the point where you're kind of like stressed, or you start getting anxiety or start getting depressed. I mean, some of the guys were drinking on the job. I don't blame them, but it's just the stress they put you through, and it's an easy job. I mean, I hate to say it, but I used to work for big companies before. I worked for the LA Times, I worked for the LA Dodgers, and I never freaking went through that kind of stuff. I mean, this was the first ever that I went through this manipulation, and they messed with you to that point. It just got, when they told me you got to move on, I felt the anxiety and everything just go away. Like I was being freed. Like,
Yeah.
I opened my jail box and they were like, you can go. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's how it felt. And
Yeah.
I felt so much better. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I should be depressed because I'm losing my job, or for some reason I felt the opposite.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I went in my car, and our boss, our ex-boss, was telling me, oh, give me your clicker, give me this, give me that. And I go, all right. So I started undressing, and I go, oh, you can keep the uniform. He goes, because you might need it for a job interview. And I'm thinking, like, man, I think this is it for me. I did like 20 some odd years in security, and that's it for me. I'm done. I can't be. I I think it's mostly me telling people what to do. I mean, I don't mind like supervision, because I've always played the strict but fair. But when it's in that other environment, sometimes you got to do stuff that you don't want to do. Sometimes it could be a horrible thing. I mean, like, especially like homeless people, you got to tell them, you got to move, buddy. Even though knowing these people are struggling, you still got to tell them, oh, you got to get up and leave, because you can't lay here. Which was sad for me, because I was starting to kind of like feel for them. And it was kind of like, man, I feel bad for that. Sometimes I would just pull out $1 and like, hey, you got to go, man. Just give them a buck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a fish restaurant on Wilshire. I forgot what it was called. They used to give us coupons, like buy one taco, get one free. So I used to give them $1 and then give them a coupon. I go, here, dude, they're like $2. If you have to add to that, you can get yourself a free taco. And they would be like, hey, dude, thanks, man. And they would take off. And I pretty much gave up stacks of coupons. I bet you they had a long line of homeless people in that restaurant.
Yeah, I bet, man. That's another observation. Yeah, I didn't think of that, because at my work right now, I don't normally deal with homeless people at all. Like my work now, it's a big facility. It's like a campus.
Oh, okay.
So like there's no like one building you gotta watch out for, and it's all gated. So like anybody's getting in, it's from the front gate, and that's where I'm at. So any homeless guy, we've had homeless people walk in, but they pretend like, oh, I'm just here for an appointment, and then they just walk through the campus and they find out there's no other exit, and you just follow them on the cameras, and then once they make their way back, it's like, hey, you can't be here, and it's like, yeah, I'm heading out. And they leave. It's like, sweet, But for the most part, you don't really deal with that. But yeah, at your work, at my old work, we had to deal with that a lot of homeless people in Santa Monica. And
you know why there's a lot of homeless people?
Mm.
Well, I mean, they always had, obviously, a lot of homeless. And I had talked to this one guy at this liquor store, and he goes, most of these people that are here, that live here, that are homeless, came from wealthy families, and, the families kicked them out. And another one, too, was years back, I would have to say 05, 06, LAPD, I remember the LA Times, they had published saying LAPD got busted, and so did other ambulance companies. They got busted because they were getting a lot of homeless people and then driving them out to Santa Monica and dropping them off there. That's why there was a big homeless community over there in Santa Monica. And I was kind of like, wow.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I hear the same thing. I do photography also, for the city of Torrance.
Uh-huh.
And we had to do some photo shoots for the bus system.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like the employees there with us to figure out what kind of advertising photos they want.
Yeah.
And we were setting up for this shot, and we got a bunch of like talent, which is like actresses and actors, to maneuver them so we can get the shot right. And in the background, they're talking. And they're talking about their work and shit and all that. And one of them said what you brought up. It's like, did you hear that so and so picked up this group of homeless people and drove them to this other city and dropped them off? Like, they gave them a one-way ticket to this other city, and they had to drive them there and drop them off. And it's like, wow, that's so wrong. The other one said, like, well, how can they get away with doing that? It's like, they don't know what to do with them, They got no budget. They got nothing to give them, And I was like, Jesus, that sucks, Like, I'm sure they're not bad people and they don't mean to do bad, but, I mean, this got to be something else.
They're trying to clean up downtown LA.
Mm-hmm.
See, I mean, I worked in downtown for like almost from 1999 all the way to 2009. And in that period, there were times where you'd go down Alameda, 7th Street. I mean, there was a lot of homeless people everywhere. You go down there now, it's like changed. I mean, it's a different world. I mean, it's like, if you went down Santa Fe, all the way to the train station, that whole area is full of crackheads.
Oh yeah, I mean like it's
horrible.
filled with homeless people.
But now
everywhere.
It changed totally. I mean, you still see the homeless people, but not as much as it used to be.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought it would grow more because of COVID.
Well, they have a lot of it contained because there's an apartment complex somewhere in downtown. It's a big complex, yeah, and they have some homeless people got apartments to live in, but a lot of them don't want to be in them because they give them, you have till 10 p.m. to come back. They're putting time restrictions on them, and then when they come back, they have security. They have to go through all their stuff to make sure there's no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. So they don't want to get scrutinized that way. So what happens, a lot of them prefer to be in the streets.
Right.
I mean, come on.
You're
an adult being treated like a child. That's what it is.
But then again, if you let them walk in there with weapons and drugs and shit, then that becomes a whorehouse, becomes a drug zone, becomes all these terrible things you're trying to prevent, right?
Yeah.
So like, where is the balance, right? It's like those people that like organize stuff like that have so much responsibility on their hands that I'm like, there is no right decision here, like, how can you minimize the least amount of chaos? And I guess that's the best way, is to check these fucking homeless people. But that you said it right. It's like some of these people don't want to go through that, so they're like, fuck that, I've been living on the street this whole time, why the fuck would I need a house now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see a lot of tents now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tents everywhere, which I hate to say, it's better than a box.
Better than a box? Yeah. I mean, better than just like us seeing them literally just laying there on the ground with like a towel down, But at the same time,
and a lot of them are vets.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I used to work doing security for a fabric company. It was just like, I would work obviously in Santa Monica, but then I had a side job, and it was for a fabric company because at night the employees used to walk out, but they used to get, bothered by the homeless. There was a lot of drug dealing right there. And so they had me in the parking lot, kind of like escorting people to their cars. And I remember I was talking to this one guy, and he goes, I served in Afghanistan. He goes, I served in Afghanistan. I did a lot of tours, but, I'm so used to hearing the bombs and everything. I can't live at home. It's too quiet.
Really?
They went from action to going home. It's all quiet again. And all of a sudden they're used to hearing the noise all day.
Right.
So that's why they end up going into the streets, because the streets, what is there? Noise.
Mm-hmm.
So, this guy was talking to me, and I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. I just kind of always wondered why you get a lot of vets, but that was one of the reasons it gave me.
Yeah, being in war will definitely change you. I mean, like I hear a lot of the Vietnam or Korea vets were like addicts. They would do heroin and shit, because heroin was like open out there. It was like not a big deal.
Wow.
Like all those drugs, really, and they had to. And they're going through war. They're trying to find some level of stimulus to like forget that they're in war right now. You know?
Well, they were giving them LSD. They were giving them cocaine to stay awake at night. LSD,
Right.
because they were prepping them to see what it did to them while they were at war. Then the heroin, they were getting used to being shot, but then they wanted to numb their feelings. And it was just like so much stuff thrown at them that when they came back, they were all messed up, even more messed up than when they were in combat.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's this terrible, terrible thing. I mean, I'm glad we're not actually doing any wars like we used to, like that.
Yeah.
Even though, Afghanistan and Syria and all that shit is still happening over there, just fucking bombings and shit. But, I mean, man, war is horrible, But the thing about war in capitalism, it's very profitable.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That's why politicians are like, whenever there's an epidemic where people need food and fucking stimulus, there's no money to be found. But if you want to go to a war in Afghanistan for resources like oil, it's like, dude, fucking, let me give you the military budget and pump that bitch up. Not a problem.
What happened was during the 9/11 thing, I mean, it was kind of funny. How come we didn't go to Afghanistan first before we went to Iraq? See, I mean, Bush wanted to go after Saddam himself, but his daddy didn't finish. See, so obviously he went and got what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He was a successor for his family to go after Saddam.
Mm-hmm.
But in Afghanistan, when they got there, they were guarding poppy fields. From my understanding, they're still guarding poppy fields out there. They say it's mostly because for the medical environment.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, for God's sakes, you got to look at the drug wars that are happening in Colombia. I mean, come on, the DEA, the CIA, they're all going over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then they're trying to get control. They're trying to get control. They're not trying to stop drugs. They just want to control it so we can have an upper hand in the drug atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, like, drugs won.
Yeah.
Drugs won. I mean, you remember when, was it Bush or was it Clinton that declared war on drugs?
Oh, it was the one that declared... No, the one that declared war on drugs was Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Way back when.
Oh yeah.
And then there was this incredible speech by this little girl at her graduation or something. It's like, I want to congratulate drugs for winning the war. Wow. The war on drugs has been won by drugs, by the fact that drugs still is a multi-trillion-dollar industry around the world.
Well, see, drugs has been a part of the human life since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
You got to figure the Native Americans with peyote.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kind of like more or less when during the old Roman or Jesus times, they did hashish.
Mm-hmm.
See, and also Native Americans also were known to also do marijuana, but they use it for medicine or to see their visions.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the white man that came around that started abusing everything else. That I'm not gonna say all the whites, but just in general, it was a stress reliever, just like alcohol itself.
Right.
Alcohol can be good as a stress reliever, but if you use it too much, you're abusing it.
Right.
See?
Yeah. I mean, like, and the crazy thing is that well, what you explain is prohibition, basically.
Yeah.
We tried to make alcohol illegal, and look at what that made. It made fucking Al Capone, one of the most richest men in the United States at the time. And then people got smart and said, like, fuck that, let's make it legal then, but, tax the shit out of it.
When this was illegal, you still had marijuana that was legal. Codeine was in medicines. Opium was in medicines. It was sold over the counter. And then they were like, all right, we'll just bring this back. We'll just ban everything else.
Right.
And you can't ban, you just can control. That's why you have Switzerland that kind of like legalized everything.
Everything.
I mean,
that's it. That's the
even
thing.
Prostitution is legal.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, the thing is that if you make prostitution, I've had this subject brought up several times on my podcast. Like, if you have prostitution be illegal, there'll still be prostitution.
Oh, yeah.
They'll just
regardless.
Be illegal.
Yeah. I mean,
those people will be treated worse by it being illegal than if it was legal. Then there could be some level of like, hey, they can only work 8 hours. They'll still get their 15-minute breaks, their lunch, and all this stuff.
There you go. They'll get their medical, dental, vision, and 401k benefits.
Exactly. Treated like a normal human.
Yeah.
And there'll probably be less anxiety from men that can't get women. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess so.
Some men do some horrible shit just because homegirl said no. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a sad thing.
It's a very sad thing. But if homeboy can just go down the street and get the fix done, not a problem. It's like he's not dwelling over it, Unlike dwelling over it. I mean, hey, homeboy needs to be smart enough to go out there and find himself some illegal shit and potentially get killed.
If the drugs or the alcohol don't kill them, it might be the AIDS.
Right? Hey, you've got nothing else to do. It's probably better than killing someone else.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so, but
that's so wrong. Yeah, the argument over what should be legal and what should be illegal is still on the table. It seems like, they should be reevaluated. Every fucking 10, 20 years, it should be reevaluated. Like murder, we can make that one a staple as like, murder is illegal for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely make it illegal. No debate.
Oh, yeah. No,
but drugs, let's fucking make some tests. Let's see which ones are really bad and how can we control them.
I mean, they're all bad, but it's funny because back growing up, like I said, back in the 80s during Ronald Reagan era, so forth, I mean, they were talking about how bad drugs were. Say no to drugs, Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, fucking dumb bitch.
In the 90s, they brought in marijuana as a medical. Now they open it up in certain states where it's all legal. Not all of them, but the majority of them. And now, what's that other one where they're mushrooms, the magic mushrooms, psilocybin? Psilocybin. Now they're bringing that in slowly as a medical thing.
Did you hear about Oregon?
No.
Oregon legalized all drugs, bro.
What?
Legalized all magic mushrooms, heroin in small doses. If you can have heroin in small doses and they won't put you in jail, they would be a minor degree.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, they legalized everything, bro.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's totally crazy because something happened by my house and I was talking to this one deputy sheriff. And then I go, it was a homeless guy. I mean, he was like, you can tell he was an old gangster, but he's shooting up right there in broad daylight in the street. The cops not
in
even...
Santa Monica?
No, I'm talking about in East LA.
Right.
And the guy's like doing his fix, and I out of curiosity, I asked the cop, I go, how come we're not arresting him? He goes, the process changed. He goes, if I take him in, all he has to say is an addict, and they release him. Or they send him to a rehab. He cleans up, and then he might come back out and then go back to drugs again. But, now that's what the new system is.
Really?
You just go in, if you get arrested, you just have to say, I'm a drug addict, I want to stop using. You go to whatever, the Betty Ford or wherever they send you, and you get cleaned up. Some people, they're strong enough, they don't do it. And other people, they learn the system, they learn to abuse it, and they just keep doing it over and over and over and over till finally the system goes, you know what, we're not going to help you no more.
Yeah. How much of a percentage do you think drug addicts are dangerous? Out of all drug addicts, do you think like 10% of them are dangerous?
Well, give or take on what they're taking.
Right.
Like
what?
I think some that get on like LSD hallucinogens, they lose control of themselves.
You think so?
Some people. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying some.
How
that
much? Like 10%? 1%?
Small percent.
2%? 5%?
I don't know. Maybe 5%.
5% of the population that take LSD fucking lose their mind.
Yeah,
I
mean, I grew up in the 90s, part of the 90s, and I remember the raves were happening. I never got into the hallucinogens, but I used to help my buddies who were into ecstasy and LSD, and I'd be sitting there drinking a beer, having a cigarette, watching my buddies go bonkers on this stuff. But I've seen other people, they lose it, and all of a sudden, they don't know what's real and what's not. So if they find a knife and they start jabbing themselves or jabbing someone else, they're going to think it's part of the hallucination.
Yeah, I guess. But wouldn't you say that weed could do that too? I guess weed is not as strong as LSD. I will give you that, because LSD, you need such a small amount to fucking trip out. Versus weed, you need like definitely wax. But like you gotta smoke such a heavy amount to like really. I've ate enough edibles to like, dude, I don't know what's going on.
What I've seen from like I said, I got buddies who smoke and stuff, and I've seen guys who have done wax, and next thing you know, they're drooping over. It's like heroin, where they start drooping over.
Yeah, dude.
It's not like they're harming anyone; it's just they're harming themselves, Yeah. But I've also seen people actually shot up, and same thing. But I think the difference between marijuana and heroin is heroin can send you straight to the casket. Marijuana, I never really heard of any cases of people dying from marijuana.
Yeah, nobody can die from marijuana, but it can give you that sense of like, you don't know what the fuck real is, dude. Like, holy shit, that's changing my perspective. Like, I've had so much weed that I honestly thought I was escaping the Matrix, dude. I was being pulled into another dimension that is the real dimension versus what we are in right now. We're like, this is a hologram or something.
Was Neo there?
Right? Like, I thought I was gonna start seeing those green little things coming down like rain, and I was like, okay, take me.
What's the other guy's name he used to be with? Morpheus?
Yeah, dude. That's my favorite movie, bro.
They're gonna make a part 4.
Yeah, did you hear?
Yeah.
I was like, no way. And they're gonna get the Keanu Reeves still in it. I was like, that's the only way I'm gonna watch it.
No, of course. He's awesome. Yeah, I love his movies.
He better make another John Wick too. Shit.
Oh yeah, John
Wick. Those Wick's fucking movies fit him perfectly.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
He puts a lot of really good effort into making a scene look as real as possible, dude.
Yeah.
Those gun moves and shit, like he spent like 6 months.
I mean, compared to his acting when he did Johnny Mnemonic or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
There's a new one.
Oh yeah, that when they're older, and I think the daughters are the ones. I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
But I want to see it. I should look for it tonight.
Right? But it's really hard to be a good actor.
Yeah.
And he embodies that really well. And I feel like certain people that are good actors need to not, or it feels like most really good actors don't have a really good sense of their own identity. You know,
Yeah,
who they really are when they're outside the front of the camera in normal life. I wonder what kind of character they are, because they can just transition into this whole new person.
Oh yeah.
And it changes your, like, oh, is that guy? Or like what? But dude, Keanu Reeves is one of my favorite actors, dude. And I am going to watch that new Matrix movie that's going to come out.
Yeah.
I wonder how it's going to come out, because theaters are closed, bro.
Drive-ins are open, aren't they?
I haven't been to a drive-in since last time I got laid.
That was a while.
No. Actually, last time I went to a drive-in, I got laid. Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah. But it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done that. Because it's always awkward afterwards. Because, you got to clean up and go to the
getting laid or watching the movie?
It's always awkward. Like, okay, now we gotta go to the restroom and fucking do all that. And
the sucky thing,
put all that stuff away.
About a drive-in is, it's cool to be in your car because it's more private.
Yeah,
you get to bring in the drinks you like.
Dude, I brought in so many drinks, dude. I had to stop.
You get to smoke in your car,
dude. I didn't bring any weed that day.
See.
Yeah, I fucked up. But what were you saying? Drive-ins are dope, dude.
I'm not sure if you remember you're kind of young those days, but like in the 90s, the cars used to have the pullouts. Used to pull the radio out of the car.
Oh,
and then people used to have the carrying case, and you put your radio inside of your carrying case. Well, what I did was I cut a part of one of my old pullouts just to top the radio, and I put 4 Budweisers in the bottom, and I put the top in, and when I was walking in, the guy goes, "I have to check your bag." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. You don't have any signs." He goes, "It's either I check your bag or you don't come in." I'm like, "All right." Something. I'm like, "Oh, man, I hope this guy doesn't try to pull out. So he opens the bag and he sees the face and he's like, "All right, you're good, man." I go, "All right, thanks." So I walk in. So we're sitting in the movie and all you hear is,
nah. Nice.
And people were like, "Oh, that sounds like beer."
Yeah, right? Nice, dude. So, I don't remember those times. I remember the times where you go to the drive-in and they give you a little speaker you put next to your window.
Yeah.
And then you hear it through that instead of actually a channel in the radio now.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about, or the thing you gotta keep in mind in the drive-ins is if you leave your car battery, the lights on, it will die by the end of the movie, and if you don't got your spark plugs and shit or your cables, you're fucked.
Oh yeah.
And that's what happened to me. That's
really. Yeah, you could buy yourself a little charger so you could jump the thing,
right? Luckily the guy next to me was like, "Yeah, I got some cables, man. Here you go." And
that's good, man. They should have AAA right there.
They should. They should. It's like, oh shit.
Or at least something there,
right?
You have to have your car on. Come on, 2 hours.
Man. Yeah, some extra electricity would help. But yeah, man, drive-ins are cool, man. I'm glad they're making money. The drive-in that's close to us right here down the street, it's also a swap meet during the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they fucking put it. It's way more packed during the swap meet than
I bet you. Yeah.
Than the drive-in and shit.
I bet a lot of chicks, man, because there's no bars or clubs open.
I guess.
I go to the one in Santa Fe Springs, and they have a big, giant beer garden. Obviously, you go with your kids, you can go, it's fine and everything. But, since the bars are closed, the nightclubs are closed, man, you see a lot of chicks now.
Yeah,
Everybody's hunting.
Yeah, something to do. You gotta get out of the house, dude.
No, you have to.
The crazy thing is that, yeah, some people can't be at home, dude. Like, some people need, well, I should say that everybody should get out after a while. Because you can't be at home for too long. Otherwise, you fucking go crazy,
oh, yeah, of
dude.
course. That's like being in prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. They're putting us in our own prison at home. The only freedom we have is, yeah, we can leave the building. Our house. That's about it. Or go to work and tend to what we have to do. But then come back and do it. I mean, shit, I bet you some people's houses went from super clean to super dirty. And some people that had super dirty houses, they probably became super clean. I mean, what more can you do unless you paint or rearrange, the house, the furniture? I mean, come on. I mean, kids right now, and I hate to say, a lot of kids right now are dying.
Yeah.
Because there's no recreational activity for them in the parks. Some are not in school. A lot of them that used to play sports, kids are dying. Some are committing suicide at a higher rate level than what it was before COVID.
Which was high already.
Yeah, it was already high. So it went from being like this to being like this now.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I talked to some of my friends' kids, and they're like, man, I got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
They don't want us to be at our friend's house and too many people and too many groups, and they're breaking up parties. Yeah, I've seen a few underground parties like where I live, and the cops zoom in, and
yeah,
they're breaking it up.
Yeah, I know. That is a crazy thing, is that there is a lot of suicides, man. This suicides just barely outnumbered car accidents last year, dude.
No.
2018, I think.
Oh.
Because people are just losing it, dude. Like, now it's way more, obviously. And we're actually... Did you ever watch the documentary, The Bridge?
The Bridge? No, I never seen it.
Dude, it's a dark documentary, dude. And the crazy thing is that I learned more about it was that when it was filmed, the film crew that filmed it didn't let know the film competition that we're putting it in. And they alleged it as, the Golden Gate Bridge and all of its like great things about it. That's what they called it. That's what they presented it as. This is what this is. But what it actually was, once they put it up in the big screen with all the contestants watching it and the judges watching it, what it was is this crew of filmmakers went out to the Golden Gate Bridge and just recorded it for as long as they could for a whole year.
Oh, like hitting cameras and stuff?
Yeah, but like just recording people walking by and everything for a whole year. And they recorded 26 jumps of people killing themselves. 26, dude.
Wow. That's
24 or 26. One of those. So more than 20, for sure. We're like, holy in a year, bro. You would think you'd see like maybe 8. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
In a year. But 20 something.
Yeah.
And then this film crew also, like when they saw it and they recorded this person kill himself, they went up and saw the people that saw him jump over, and they asked people, who do you know who he is and all this, and even the people that rescued him from the ground, from the ocean, that gathered his belongings and traced his family and everything. They interviewed their families and stuff and asked them, it's like, what was he, a troubled child? Like, what was he going through and all this stuff? And hearing about their lives is just like tragic, dude. They had like all the worst things happening at the time. Where like it kind of makes sense that they jumped. We're like, I don't want to have this shit anymore, Yeah. And some other people were just dark people that they didn't have any purpose. We're like, man, it makes you really think about suicide. Suicide is hard, bro.
Well, in some countries they take suicide kind of like once you lose your honor, you have to kill yourself. Like, no, I'm not saying I'm not saying you have to. I'm not encouraging, but like in Japan, if you lose your wealth, they kill themselves.
Really?
Yeah, it's a conversation I had this morning with my brother. He was saying in a lot of Asian countries, if you start losing your wealth or your job or whatever it is, that's where they go to. And it's kind of like, wow, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I lost my job. I'm going to down on my diabetic pills so the insulin goes skyrocket. No, it's like, I was kind of like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you come to a road and it says detour and you just jump to the next road to continue where your life continues. But other people, what happens is they only see one road. They don't see multiple roads they can take. And that's what it is about life. What happened, maybe when I was younger, I probably would have just seen one road, because when you're young, you really don't know how to experience yourself. You're just kind of like growing. You're still learning. I mean, the only reason I know is because my nephew, he was young at the time, and when you're a kid, all you see is one road. That's it. But as time goes by, obviously the roads start opening up. The more you open your mind, the more the roads start opening up. I mean, if you want to self-improve yourself to a certain sense, or you want to do better in your life, you know, obviously you see multiple roads. I mean, depending on which one you go down, well, some roads are like this. Some roads are like this. Some just end with the cliff. I mean, it just depends on how you look at your life. You know, if it ends at a cliff, doesn't mean jump. It just means just walk back the other way to go back to a road that might be your destiny. See, but a lot of people don't see that. They just, it's it, you know.
Yeah. And it's kind of admirable, dude. It's kind of like, holy shit, you were able to do it, because killing yourself is fucking hard, dude. You ever trying to drown yourself? You ever like, your
I
body
think you do it when you're a kid, like to see how long you can hold your breath. All you're like,
and you have to come up, like your body's like, you got to come up,
unless you put. Well, I don't want to say, but unless you do something. Start giving people idea. Oh, really? Me?
Tie yourself down or something. Probably.
I don't want to be responsible, but you know, it's morbid. It's a morbid thinking.
That's why people jump off of bridges. You know, people jump off of buildings.
I used to do security for a 72-hour hold for suicide.
Really?
Yeah. And I used to be the guy. I used to be two guys, one guy in the front for the medical part, and I used to be the guy in the hospital part. And sometimes they would bring in people that you were just kind of like, whoa, like what happened? They brought in this one guy. He was gonna jump off the bridge. I think I don't remember which bridge exactly, but he was gonna jump into the 10 freeway, and LAPD stops him. And when they arrest him, well, they don't arrest him, but they have to cuff him because he's actually harm for himself and harm to others. So when they stop him, he already had slit his wrists. He was a carpet installer. He slit his wrists, and he slit his own neck. And when the cops were just like, "Oh man," so they ended up tying him or cuffing. I don't remember exactly, but they bring him to the hospital I was at. And I called the nurses, like, oh, hey, you know, we got some guy over here. And the nurses came out. They were like, no, you guys can't do that. You have to take him to General Hospital, and they'll stitch him up, and then you guys have to bring him back. So the cops are kind of like disappointed, like, come on, I'm not going to sit there once you guys take him. And they were like, no, you guys stopped them. You guys have to do the procedure. So
he slit his throat.
Yeah.
And his wrist. And he was bleeding everywhere. And
what the cops did, they put kind of like tourniquets on his, so he could stop the bleeding. And what happened was, when the guy was kind of like a little off, because what happened was we had to tie him down because he was harming himself while he was in the hospital. So he was starting to get better, come out of, he was drinking. I think he was drinking. He did meth and he did some other drugs. He did like about a cocktail of drugs. And he found out his wife was cheating on him. And so he wanted to kill himself. And it was kind of sad because you look at the guy, he was a nice guy, a totally nice guy. And what happened, he goes, I was drinking and doing coke, and I forgot which other one. He was like, it was quite a bit of stuff. And he goes, first, I cut my wrist, but I wasn't dying fast enough. So I slit my own throat. And still I wasn't dying, fast enough. But it was the coke that was keeping him alive. It was the numbness. He goes, well, I decided I wanted to jump off the bridge into the 10 freeway. He goes, the cops stopped me. Finally, when he finally came out of it, he was like, man, I really messed up. I'm glad they stopped me. I don't know what I was thinking. And it was like, they ended up helping him. They ended up sending him to like a place where he could clean up and do better. I don't even know what happened. Once they leave the facility, I don't know what happens. Yeah. But I was just like, wow.
So when he slit his throat, he didn't cut it deep enough.
I don't think he cut the arteries.
The arteries, because they're right here on the side.
He did it from here to here.
Yeah.
But he didn't affect the arteries. That's why
he didn't go all the way. Yeah. But he was bleeding from here, from the wrist. Yeah. He's trying to like, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever be so attached to my spouse to like have her cheat on me. And I was like, this is it. Calling it, guys. I'm like, fucking, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, what? He must have been on some crazy shit right when he found out, because, I mean, to make that logical leap is just, I mean, I guess there's some worse drugs out there, like.
Well, when you're down and you're drinking more of a depression type of thing. I mean, this could be depression or it could be stress. That's why when you feel stress, this relaxes you. See, but the more you have, the more hard alcohol you start mixing in, then you start doing other shit on top of that. I mean, it's like your mind's not there. You're just like,
right. Yeah.
You're in the different part of the matrix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a normal life to think that. But dude, some people devote their whole life to this one thing, and when they see that gone, they fucking just break down. I mean, I guess I'm not married. I don't have kids. So like, I don't have that attachment already. So knowing that, it's just like, man. I mean, I think the worst drug I've heard of was what is that one drug that that the news alleged it as, like, the guy was eating another person's face and shit?
Oh,
what was it?
No, that wasn't even a drug. That was that magnesium stuff that you put in the tub, and they're supposed to Epsom salt.
Epsom salt?
Yeah, that's what they ate. The guy ate Epsom salt, and it made him lose it.
Right?
Yeah,
and he was eating somebody's face, right?
Yeah.
That was dead or something, right?
No, the guy was alive. He bit his nose off.
Right?
That was crazy. I think that was in Florida. It was a homeless guy that did it. And then he attacked a regular guy and bit the guy's nose off. And he started, like, I guess, eating part of his lips and stuff like that.
What? That's crazy, dude. Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, oh, my God. It's gotten to that level now, I guess.
And at first, I thought it was fake. And then I asked one of my, at that time, I asked one of my teenage nephews, I go, hey, what do you think about this? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, a lot of kids right now are either smoking Epsom salt. He goes, the drugs you guys grew up with, that's how he put it. He goes, the guys you guys grew up with is not the drug of choice anymore. He goes, and a lot of the rap music, like, I don't know, Young Jeezy, what's that, Wiz Khalifa, they talk about how to get high, but without using coke, heroin, nothing. They talk about mixing Robitussin with alcohol. They talk stuff you can get at home, and Benadryl. That's like one of the big things right now is the Benadryl, where kids, they were doing it on TikTok. They were grabbing 10 pills of Benadryl, throwing it with alcohol, and then drinking it, and then other kids would record them to see how long they can last while they're alive.
Yeah, I heard some crazy shit like that.
So
dude.
it's kind of like now you're gonna have to lock everything in your freaking bedroom to keep your kids away from the kind of stuff. I mean, this world keeps getting worse and worse, and then kids have more time because of the COVID, because they're at home more. So guess what? They're gonna say, hey, if that guy lasted 15 seconds, I could do it for 30.
Right.
And then you get some other kid, I can do it for longer. So they start doing all these little competitions and stuff. I mean, come on, man. The drug the drug problem is just getting worse. It's just boredom.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's like not a really good solution to any of this,
Yeah.
Like, I guess the good solution would be to just pay people to stay at home. Just pay them a livable wage.
I'll be happy with $5,000. I just kidding.
If that's what it takes, I mean, right? But the thing is, we've been paying taxes this whole time, like for years.
Yeah.
And like, does this not add up? Is it like insurance? Like, one day it doesn't pay off anything we need when we need it. Like, what the fuck were we paying for this whole time then?
I mean, if they're gonna do rent forgiveness,
right?
Why not give people bill forgiveness?
Right.
I mean, people owe credit cards. People still have they can't pay their car. I mean, this is affecting a lot of people. For God's sakes, Biden is talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna write off everybody who owes $10,000 which in student loans, which is not even. That's like this.
Yeah.
Then you got other people that are paying like $100,000. Kids are becoming doctors, are paying $100,000. Like, come on, man. I mean, it's like outrageous right now. It's just like pathetic.
It's so pathetic, dude. And that's the thing about that. The world, or at least America, I can't speak about the world, but America seems to be not very educated, dude. I think that it kind of falls all on like lack of education, because I mean, you're a different generation than me, and even your generation probably didn't learn about how to fill out your taxes right, how to buy a home, how to buy a car.
That's shit every generation.
It's shit that actually matters, that is going to inflict the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We don't learn about it in school. No. It's like, why? That's fucking dumb.
Well, because the system is created to make workers, not leaders. See, I mean, it's from the time after World War II, after World War II had ended. Obviously, during World War II, a lot of the men went to fight wars, and a lot of women that weren't working went for the support, for war and manufacturers and so forth.
Right.
After that happened, they started building more high schools, more houses, closer to the manufacturing companies, so they can be more workers. They're not teaching people how to be leaders because they don't want leaders. They want workers. And that's why right now a lot of manufacturing companies are leaving, because the more workers, they want retirement, 401k, medical, dental, vision. The presidents of the companies or the owners, they don't want to pay more money to these people. For them, I'd rather go to freaking Indonesia and pay this guy a dime than to pay this guy freaking his retirement and 401k. I mean, that's why we're having all these companies leaving America. And that's one of the reasons why Trump was trying to stop and bring back. See? But I'm not going to say Trump was just in it. As a matter of fact, like I was telling someone, that vision that Trump had was a vision that, I'm not sure if you remember, but Ralph Nader had back during the freaking, I think the early 2000s, around there. He was running for president himself. He's a millionaire. And he goes, well, we got to do this and we got to do that. We got to stop American companies going to other countries because, we're losing money here.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened with the PPE supplies, right? The PPE supplies, which is the medical workers' masks, shields and everything, gloves and everything, were not made in America. They were all made in China or other countries, to where when the epidemic hit hard and all those supplies were needed, China and all those other countries kept theirs because they needed it, and we were left like fucking dealing with trash bags and shit. We're like,
people started manufacturing them at home, cutting their old underwear, buying women underwear or bras or whatever it was, and manufacturing. I would have to say that was a good idea for those who did it, and they made money just to help people.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like, bam, this happened. All of a sudden, people just jumped to it. Not to make money, but to help, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they start bringing in most of the stuff that we've been getting have been from Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah, most of the stuff, not China, but Vietnam, but they don't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many countries that are supplying so much of our stuff, like when Trump was getting elected back in 2016, I saw a meme that said it was a Trump Make America Great Again, and then on the tag it said Made in Mexico.
But you got to remember, Mexico is part of America.
I guess
it's in North America, isn't it?
I guess. We can break it but the guy is running on we're gonna make a great wall. Oh, sorry. That's gonna prevent these people from getting over here because they're murderers and rapists.
And then I saw a meme and it says you can build the wall as high as you want. We'll just put ladders.
Yeah, or cut straight through it. Oh my god, dude! He never was able to accomplish it.
I think he made part of it, from California into I don't know what state, or part of California around there, and they even said one of the parts they built actually toppled into the United States.
Yeah, when it was super windy that 1 month or 1 week or whatever, so windy that a tree fell off at our work and almost landed on a car that was driving in. They just luckily stopped right before the tree came down.
Wow.
It was crazy, dude. I got to see it all. And dude, the crazy thing about the wall is that the majority of the money that devoted to building the wall was devoted to replacing part of what the wall was already there. So there was shitty wall there, and they're like, well, this is not gonna hold up. We can't make a new wall over there that's nice and have this shitty wall here. So they ripped that wall off and then put better wall on. So all he did was remove old wall and put new wall in. It's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
It's like we're dealing with these old-timey things that a wall is gonna solve everything. And they even said that the majority of the people that get in, or the drug and rapists that get in, is through planes and legal borders.
There's drug and rapists everywhere.
For reals.
Come on. They're stopping the Mexicans. Like I said earlier, I have a friend that he's in INS, and he had told me, you get Mexican, yes, they're trying to come in. He said, but the majority that they stop are people from Muslim countries, Chinese, or Korean countries. He goes, that Mexico has a large Asian community.
I'm sure,
because of all the people they've been sending back.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. There's a bad area. It's not bad, but it's a known area. It's called Chapultepec, which is in part of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's Korean now. It's more Korean than there is actually native Mexicans.
Mm.
And the Korean mafia's in there.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I got family in Mexico, and they're telling us, they're like, yeah, so I guess some little gangbangers tried, punking these Asian guys, and next thing you know, they found out there was the Korean mob.
Mm-hmm.
So they're everywhere. Everybody's trying to get in. They're trying to come into the country that it's the money making country.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, South America, anything below Mexico and down there is just riddled with corruption and drugs and you know, like the worst people. And those are the people now are in government.
Yeah.
Like they're influencing government. Government members are actually being caught fucking colluding with like the criminals.
No.
And it's gotten so bad that there's kind of like no way back now. Like, even if America somehow makes all drugs legal, like the fucking next month or whatever, it isn't gonna stop all those people. That demand's gonna go somewhere else, and they're actually become a legitimate source of these products. Oh man, it's just the problem is getting worse, and the thing is that at least I try to have a positive attitude or positive vision for the future of the world in a way. Not just America, but the world, because I wanna envision that this fucking planet's gonna keep running, you know? Because you can't look at all the negatives and be like, oh, what's the point? And just like bail.
I mean, we can stop everything we can, but we don't know what's going to come out from outer space and hit us with a freaking meteorite. That's another thing they're trying to control now.
Yeah. Well, like it seems like most of the money that we devote into like NASA and all that is just about like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are trying to go to Mars, dude. They're dumping millions of dollars in making space shit to go and terraform Mars. We're like, what the fuck, fix this?
Did you see the one where Elon Musk's ship was landing, and right when it was about to land, it blew up?
It blew up!
I was wondering, there was nobody inside, right? Or was there a pilot?
Yeah.
There was a pilot?
No. There was no pilot. There was no... yeah, dude, I saw that today, and I was like, and it looks like a cartoon, dude. Like the spaceship looks perfectly like what you see in like Roadrunner and the Coyote, when like the Coyote tries to take off on this ginormous thing, and they just blew up, dude. But apparently that's what they wanted to do. Apparently they had sensors and all this data that was being gathered for that launch, that now they're like, oh, we know where we fucked up, and we hadn't expected that something would go wrong in this area, but we gathered all the data, so now we make it again. We can plug those holes, and it'll be 100% functioning again.
Wow. So,
I mean, that's the thing about with these entrepreneurs, is that you see them watch a multi-billion-dollar rocket go up in flames and be like, yeah, I'll make another one. I got extra money.
That was so-and-so's retirement right there.
Yeah, dude. That's like, yeah, that is more money than I'll probably see in like 5 lifetimes, dude. There's no way I can ever reach that amount of money. Like, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, I actually watched this YouTube video that put in not perfect, but pretty good perspective what a billion is.
Uh-huh.
And you know who the richest person is on the planet, right?
El Chapo?
That's a good one. I don't know how much money that dude is, because there's no record.
Did you see that warehouse that he had full of money?
Really?
Yeah. Well, where's it? He couldn't put it in banks because the banks weren't taking it, and the more money he would put in, he just couldn't, because they were gonna tax him, or the U.S. was gonna confiscate it because it's all U.S. dollars,
right?
You know. So, but when they showed, I think it was like $257 billion, and someone had said, this guy's more richer than Mike Milken.
Really? That's awesome.
I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow. They even brought up he was more richer than Jeff Bezos. He had more money than all the freaking billionaires we have in the world.
No
because
way.
of the fact he had so much money in a giant warehouse.
No.
Yeah, he filled it up. You ever seen that movie? What's it called? Made in America with Tom Cruise? Where
Cruise.
he plays well, he's not CIA, but he starts working for the CIA by the name of Barry Snow or something like that. And what ends up happening, he flies in cocaine from Colombia into the U.S., but then the CIA wants him to fly weapons down to the supposed to be revolution in Nicaragua and El Salvador. You ever heard of Oliver North? Yeah, you got to check it out. That's what the whole thing is about. That's what happened during the second term of Ronald Reagan. And what happened was they were using this pilot to bring in cocaine from Colombia and dropping it off into the U.S.
Really?
But the CIA goes, hey. Well, it was actually all for the CIA, but when Pablo Escobar found out that he was doing this stuff for the U.S., he goes, hey, you and me could make business. And that's how the whole thing started. And he got rich, but it got to the point he was so rich, he didn't know where to put his money. He ended up making like 10 banks in somewhere in Arkansas. And it was full of his money. And then he had money buried in his properties. And he had so much money, he didn't know where to hide it no more.
Yeah.
But see, that's not what brought him down. It was the fact that his wife's brother was stealing money from him. He got popped by a cop, and then the cops called the FBI. It was a big old thing, and that's how I ended up trading back to this guy, Barry Snow.
What?
And pretty much Barry Snow in the movie goes, you guys are going to release me. And they were like, no, you're going to prison. And he goes, no, watch. You guys are going to have to release me. He goes, watch. There's going to be a phone call.
You mean the Tom Cruise where he's a pilot?
Yeah.
And he fucking gets these planes filled with cocaine and shit, and he drops them off. Dude, I did watch it. I did watch it.
I love that movie.
Dude, it's a good movie. I actually watched a documentary on Amazon Prime called The Last Narc, and he is an ex-CIA agent that actually worked the Mexican FBI connection, where they were influence each other or supplying each other drugs and money to fund the Colombian War. The Colombian shit that was happening there, or
no, it was
the Cuban War or something.
No, it was Central America, because they were talking about Nicaragua being, they had a little revolution, but they didn't want to fight. Nobody wanted to fight.
Nobody, dude. They wanted to make
taking
money.
AK-40s. It was everything about money.
Money, dude. It's
the
all
U.S.
about
trying
money.
to create a war with, remember, like you said, everybody's trying to create war, and war creates money. So
Yeah. It's crazy because it puts everything on the table. It was all under the table. We were like, I don't know how this story kind of played out. What the fuck going on? Now there's fucking shows and movies. Hollywood is teaching us of our own history that's happening right now, and we are like people in the theater just watching it, eating popcorn. It's like, homie, you gotta vote here. Like you get to have a voice here. You gotta fucking go out there and do something about that. That's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
The problem is that when we get singled out, they eliminate us.
Well, it's not that. I think also too, it's because a lot of people don't want to vote anymore because they think, well, if I vote for this president and he doesn't become president, then what's the point in voting? Then you get people from other countries where voting doesn't even exist. They're saying, no, you have to vote.
Yeah.
Your word counts whether they get in or not, because you have to. It's important. I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people from like Syria or whatever bad country it is. I'm not saying all countries are bad. I'm just saying just the government wise, the way they think is they look at ours and they're like, wow, they have the freedom to vote. I mean, why is so many people not voting?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a really good speech by somebody that said if voting wasn't important, why is there so many people trying to convince you not to vote? You know, like why is there like something called voter suppression? Why is there propaganda like advertisements against their opponent?
I think what they should do is just get rid of that freaking collegiate vote.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something for like during the 1800s, 1700s, where there was very little population. Now we're just Now that we're just overpopulated, they can count everybody's vote.
And we have the internet, so we're all connected. We all know what's going on.
But we can't vote on the internet because it's going to be more. It's going to be manipulated whether we send it by mail, we go in person, or internet. So that you take a risk every which way.
Yeah, that's the thing about. That's the thing about having integrity in the vote, in the people that are running the vote, like the freaking CIA or like the cyber security manager for this election that Trump just recently fired because he wrote or gave a statement saying that this has been the most secure election in history. And then Trump's like, how dare you? You're fired. You know what I mean? Like, that guy had integrity where he is a Republican appointed by Trump to overlook the cybersecurity. He had integrity. He had honor. He had all the things he needed and require to run a successful election where even the president himself was like, you did that wrong. You were supposed to let me win. Like, how can people hear that and then be like, yeah, he did the right job? It's like, what the fuck?
He should have just been man enough and just said, hey, all right, you won. That's
exactly.
It. But he's being a crybaby. I think a lot of people start losing a lot of respect for him because he's being a crybaby about it. And I think Biden's more like what? I won? Really?
Yeah.
Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
I didn't want this.
Yeah. He's inheriting a very divided America. Like he's gonna like Trump made the division.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like wants to keep it this way because he's profiting from it. I mean, the fact that he's losing is also profiting him because he's asking from donations from people to pay off his own personal debt, along with like so-called following the lead on all this corruption. And so he's enriching himself by that. Meanwhile, Biden is trying to be a law-abiding citizen and follow the rules. And like, Biden was never on the lead in this whole time running for president as like, this guy's going to be the guy. He just so happened to get lucky against Bernie, and now he's the leader, you know?
Well, I think what it was is nobody really wanted Bernie because of, I guess, his communist views or what he had. People don't want that. But then again, you get Kamala Harris, which has almost the same views, but,
Well, it's not communist. It's socialist, right?
Yeah, it's socialist. But
those socialist views are very triggering for people that come from Cuba and stuff, right?
Of course.
Because I keep hearing about them. The thing is that is education, right? Like Bernie Sanders was not trying to like eliminate all options for Medicare or anything like that. He was just trying to make an affordable source to get your medicine in an affordable price, along with all these other options.
Of course.
But people didn't see it that way. They were just looking at their dark past and seeing that same label and then attributing it to him.
Course.
You know?
Of course. But I think the funny thing is, a a lot of Republicans voted for Biden.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, dude. A lot. They said the Bush family voted for Biden. They didn't want Trump at all because Trump was always putting down the Bush family.
Yeah. Well, he's putting down everybody, bro. Everybody besides him and his family is the only one that's been like he's shit on Fox News so much that Fox News now is kind of like shifting slowly towards Biden and like, hey, letting this guy go loose because he's getting crazy. You know?
Mean, I'm not Democrat and I'm not Republican. I'm independent.
You're a moderate.
What is that? Immoderate?
Moderate, where it's like you're right in the middle.
Well, I mean, I think since 2016, I started noticing a change. I mean, before 20, I didn't vote for Obama because I didn't know too much about him.
Dude, I've never voted before.
What?
I've said this in many my other podcasts and never voted before until now in 2020.
That's good.
Voted.
That's good.
Like I actually voted in 2019 for some midterms or something like that. I voted for that before that, but I never thought that my vote really counted because everybody would tell me it doesn't count. Like they will still choose the electoral house, the electoral college still gets to choose eventually who gets to win and shit. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, why? But then I realized that I was thinking that too. And I also was thinking that I don't follow politics. I don't know how to make an educational vote for someone that's gonna be a better future. So better for me to not put my 2 cents into it and just randomly vote for people and sway the election versus just not voting at all and letting people that know this better to vote. And then I learned that there are way dumber people than I am. Like me randomly fucking bubbling shit in is probably better than some of these people, dude.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I forgot.
Yeah, I've never voted, and honestly, Trump has really shifted that, dude. Like he's really like made me realize of like, oh shit, I need to keep an eye on this. Like, I need to keep an up to date on what's happening with my tax dollars.
Yeah,
really.
When I didn't get my taxes for 2019 because Trump took that thing away from us. I mean, I used to do write-offs for whatever I bought for work or I couldn't do any write-offs. So I do Instacart on the side. I get 1099, so I get paid for my mileage back. Right. I mean, you don't make a lot of money when you're getting paid like for Uber or what it is. You make your money back in the lump sum of the mileage. Right. So when you get that back, because my tax guy had told me, he goes, oh, you're not going to get, I think in 2018, he goes, you're not going to get that much. And I'm like, why is that? I go, I put in a lot of write-offs. He goes, well, because of Trump. He goes, if you do Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, something like that, you get 1099. So you write down all your mileage. He goes, you're not going to make a lot of money, but when the time comes around for taxes, you can write off your taxes, and that's deductible. You'll probably make a lump sum and all your money back. So when I got my money back for 2019, it was mostly because of Instacart. See?
Really?
Yeah, but I didn't get anything from my regular full-time job. I do Instacart part-time. Yeah, I'm not going to say I make a lot of money, but the very little that I made, I got a lump sum just because of driving my car. That's it.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like,
that sucks, dude, because, you would expect to get more money back or something, or at least the equal amount. Why would it change?
Why not? But that's just the way it is. But see, I don't know how it's going to be for 2020, being that Trump is still in office, or is Biden going to change it, and am I going to get money back?
Yeah, I wonder how the Biden administration is going to handle this, because right now, if we had another election the following year, 2021, he would lose for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he would lose right away. So he needs to make some big home runs, some big changes for the American people to really put themselves behind him. And right now, it's just like the lesser evil. We're playing like.
Well, 2024, I don't think Biden's going to run again. I think this is his only.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the guy, I think he said he's just going to do one term and that's it. More than likely, it might be Kamala Harris that might run.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
But.
Fucking hurt his foot playing with his dog and shit.
What?
You didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah, Biden hurt his foot. He actually went to the hospital because he was going around his house chasing his dog, and he twisted his ankle where like he fucking like limping and shit.
The guy's 76 years old. By the time it's 2020 or 77, by the time it's 2024, he's gonna be 81. It's not like he's all. I mean, he's there, but like sometimes a little off. You know, it just like.
I think he's the oldest president we've ever had.
Yeah,
I think
probably. But if I think by 2024, I think Trump said he was gonna run.
Cause he gave a speech where like this election is so rigged. I can't believe the American people are letting this.
Of course he's gonna know it's rigged. I mean, shit, Russia freaking helped him become president.
Exactly. I mean, like the Mueller report was really damaging to Hillary. And that might have swayed the election in that term because they actually just made it's been out for a while, but a few months, but the show, the Comey Rule, have you heard of it?
I might have heard of it.
They put all that down, the 2016 election and him being involved with the whole Hillary's emails and shit. Mm-hmm. They explain it all in that show. It's 2 episodes. It's like an hour-long episode. And it's on Hulu, Showtime, or on Showtime, basically. And they really went through, like, Comey tried to do the right thing by following the rules that, this person deleted some confidential emails and needs to be investigated. At first, we're like, they're not that crazy. And then later on, more evidence revealed themselves. It's like, it is kind of crazy. We're going to have to put in an investigation. And Trump just ran with that, dude. And the people were like, I guess she's pretty bad. So if the FBI is following that.
All politicians are bad.
Dude, in a way, it's all about money, bro.
It's money.
It's
money.
So much about money. Then making
America.
the right. I mean, there's some good people in politics, but they're so hampered and so few in such a large group that it's hard for them to make real change, you know?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, you got corporations up here, and then you have the presidents or politicians down here. So they're saying, do this, do that, and they're the ones that are pretty much doing it. See?
Yeah. In a way, that's what we made. That's what capitalism made. You know what I mean? Like the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, the Walgreens CEOs, all those are the people that are really fucking changing the shit. Those are our kings now. Like the government is just like, it's bidding, you know, it's fucking general or it's fucking security guards. You know, and they're running things, you know,
just as long as they don't have an Alex.
Seems like they do. You know, otherwise we'd be getting more stimulus. Oh man, it's crazy because I also follow like Canada's like laws and shit. And did you hear that they just approved $77 billion? $77 billion to give $2,000 a month to every Canadian in Canada till this COVID thing blows over.
Wow.
That's insane. And they can't even get approved.
$77 billion is not a lot to what the U.S. got was what? 1.3 trillion?
Trillion?
Yeah.
Was it trillion?
Yeah, it was in the trillions.
Well, yeah, because America is such a heavily populated place that, of course, you know, right? Because you got to have those type of numbers to really give people at least $1,200 a month,
Well,
or like $1,200
if you're single,
one time.
if you're single, you get $1,200. But if you're married and no kids, each one gets $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have kids, like we'll just say one kid, so you get $1,200 plus another $500.
Mm-hmm.
The maximum I think they would give more money is 4 kids, so you get $1,200 per the husband and wife, and then $500 per every kid.
Yeah.
So now you got, how much is that? That's already what, 2,000? That's almost like $4,000.
Yeah, one time though.
That's $4,000.
That is $4,000.
I mean, some people aren't even making that kind of money.
No,
they're probably working at a McDonald's and holy shit, I'll have more kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But how long would you think that's gonna last you? It's not gonna last you a whole year though.
Well, they're talking about, because Janet Yellen's coming in as the U.S. Treasury, that she might start spending a lot more money than what we She's gonna be throwing that stuff out that helicopter, you know.
Well, like anyone that's not with the Trump administration seems to be like more willing to give people that are in need and desperate because of an epidemic.
It's either give or have a revolution.
The revolution will definitely set us back economically against China, India, and what's another country that?
And that's what Russia and China kind of want. They want us to destroy ourselves.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right? I bet you they're like this. We'll just say this is America, and they're just looking each country's. When are they going to destroy? Yeah. When is it going to happen?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And if we don't get control of ourselves, we can destroy ourselves.
Oh,
and guess who's going to be? They're going to eliminate America from the 3 top powers: Russia, U.S., and China. If U.S. is gone, it's going to be Russia and China.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be like like what Germany was back during the early times when France and England used to fight.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah. And honestly, like, if we don't get our shit together, that's what will happen, you know? And Trump's over here saying that Russia, it couldn't have been Russia, you know? Like, it's crazy you think that it would be Russia when they said that did you collude with the 26th election and all this? Of course they did. I mean, they made a documentary, a really good documentary. I got to watch it called Evasive Action.
I haven't seen it. I got to check it out.
Yeah, Evasive Action is a documentary that explains why Russia stopped funding their army and started devoting a lot of that funds, which wasn't even that much compared to the U.S., to coups, trying to start coups by either planting one of their spies in the community in America or spreading misinformation. Just Facebook, basically.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fill it with Facebook fake information about all the politicians, not just the Democrats, Republicans, Trump, everybody. Whatever causes any spark to light a fire, to burn the whole thing down, that's good for them.
What's it called again?
Evasive Action.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, you gotta check it out.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll check it out.
I think it's Evasive Action. No, it might have been. I think it's something in terms of Evasive Action. I gotta look it up, but I'll send you the link. And it's really good. Man, there's so many good documentaries out there now, man. I listened to another documentary about the 2018. Oh, you want to know?
Oh yeah, of course.
Gotcha. I listened to another documentary about the 2008 financial collapse.
Yeah.
Where we in the United States got a hard hit on the 2008 financial collapse. A lot of people went homeless. A lot of people lost their houses. All this happened, and it was terrible. But it wasn't as bad as other countries. that depended on supplies, money,
They-
all this stuff.
Greece got hit hard. Italy got hit hard. Turkey got hit harder. I mean,
yeah, so much. Like, little bump on our road of economic structure is a hurricane to other countries, you know? Where, like, the people, and then certain people allege the 2008 financial collapse to Obama. But it's actually the Bush
administration.
It was the Bush administration.
He just walked into it.
Exactly.
See, that's all he did. He walked in, was already falling apart.
Yeah, and then they had to bail out the banks, otherwise we would have lost everything.
Just like when the employment was going up super high, Trump took credit for it.
Yeah.
Come on, he just walked in on it.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like, come on. But I don't know about this world, man. I don't even know about this world anymore. Who to believe anymore? It's just so much lies are out there.
So it's just, wouldn't you also say that it's kind of human behavior? Just like how you hear that gossip in the break room or in the locker room and shit, you kind of get like, oh shit, what? Homegirl saying this, or
Maggie did what to who?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that. And I'm wondering if we're going to catch a grip and fucking make some real changes, because obviously we're such an economical impact to the world that if we were to lose our statue, that would be very, very bad to the rest of the planet. I mean, everybody wants to talk about communism and how, you know, Russia and China are all caught up with, like, they're trying to influence communism into America. We don't want communism in America.
Oh, of course not.
But yet it seems like Trump is communism. And honestly, sometimes, like right now, communism with the right leader would be great. You know, if we had the right leader that could, it's like, oh, people want stimulus, give them fucking stimulus. Oh, people want vaccines, give them fucking vaccines. But the thing is that when you're living in luxury and you don't see all the bad shit that's happening in the world, you don't give a fuck. Why would you want to give a shit about other people's lives and what they're living through? So, like, how could you ever think that a guy that has lived in luxury can ever have your better intentions? You know? Because that's what he is, in a way, right? He has lived an entire life in luxury, and he got his wealth not by his own sweat and work, but by his father's handed down, you know.
How many bankruptcies has he had? What?
So many, dude. So many.
You know, that's the best influence for Russia to have, is to get someone who wants to still make more money.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's where Russia came in and said, we'll give you $4 billion, but you gotta unsign all these treaties you guys created from World War II. Right? And that was their best bet, and that's what he's been doing.
Right.
I mean, it's like, get the WHO out, World Health Organization out. I mean, he's doing the best that he can. Now he's out, he's pissed. Even when they showed that Biden won, they showed the reaction of Putin. He was kind of like, oh my God, like he was like in disbelief.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, like he's exceeded already. That's how I look at him. It's like he has divided us enough to where, like, right now he just needs to wait, make sure that flame keeps steady, and you watch that shit grow, you know? It's fucking, we'll have to wait. I mean, we need to catch a grip too. We need to catch a grip, and it doesn't seem like this is gonna be anytime soon, though, right?
No, we have to see what's gonna happen from now to 2024.
Right.
Now, if Biden is able to, you know, change stuff, make it better for everybody, then we'll see what happens. But I don't think the next 4 years is going to be good for any president, whether it's Biden or someone else.
Right.
You know, I told people, watch, when Biden wins, for some reason, I think the vaccine's going to come out. But if Trump wins, we're not going to have the vaccine at all.
For a while. I mean, did you hear about that? That Trump was supposed to... So he signed up for 5,000 or 5 million vaccines. And he was supposed to, like... And then the company that supplies the vaccines called the White House administration and asked him, hey, do you guys want to reserve another 100 million other vaccines so in case you need them? And they're like, nah, I'm good. And then other countries came in and said, hey, we want these vaccines. And now we're backtracked to June or July to get more vaccines, dude. How is that possible?
Well, they said China had a vaccine.
Russia did too.
Well, of course, they got it from China. But I'm pretty sure China got it from Bill Gates.
but Russia announced their vaccine way ahead, like a couple months ago, where like they were claiming they had a vaccine, but it didn't go all the way through all the clinical trials. That's why there were people like, I don't fucking know about this vaccine, homie. Like, nah, I'm not gonna fuck with that. But hey, I gotta use the restroom real quick. Do you need to use the restroom?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right, give me a second. All right.
All right.
Go ahead. You saw some what?
Oh, I saw that you have the Power of Habit. I didn't get to finish reading it, but I read part of it. It's pretty good.
Oh man, that book has really taught me a lot about how hard it is to change your habits, dude.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
I mean, I think the biggest hurdle I've ever had has been diet. Like, I'm so bad at it, dude. Like, and it's a common thing. It's like everybody has an issue, and what I realize is that even though I've been able to lose weight and maintain that weight for a while, I can easily go off the rails, dude.
Oh, like anybody can. That's everybody.
This quarantine, dude, I'm 20 pounds heavy, bro.
Push-ups, dude.
Dude, I've been doing them. It doesn't help.
Run in place, do some sit-ups. You know.
I just gotta get out of the house and do all the shit. The only problem is that getting out of the house, going to work, is still I don't do shit at work, bro. For the most part, I'm not walking around a lot. I was
walking a lot over there. We had to do rounds every hour.
Yeah.
Rounds every hour. I was walking so much. There's this app called Sweatcoin. It records how many steps you do. And then what it would do, it would give you rewards. And then you could pick what you want after how many steps you walked. And I got some earbuds out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I was like, wow, walking is rewarding. And then if you want to run, it gives you like an upbeat. You can do like twice as fast. So you can press that button and you could just go jogging or whatever you do, walk faster, and it would double the points.
Really?
But I ended up learning that because I used to listen to my music, it'd be on, and I'd be listening to YouTube. And because of the vibrations of the car, it was recording the bumps. So sometimes I would drive for like 2-3 hours.
No way.
10,000 steps, 15, 20,000 steps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Then, that's the crazy thing about those technologies, that it doesn't know when you're not walking. It doesn't know when you're running. It kind of gets an idea out of the motion that's happening.
Yeah.
That you're doing some type of activity.
I used to grab the phone and shake it like that,
and then it
would still record.
Yeah.
But it gets tired doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That still work in a way. Yeah. These phones. I wanted to get a Fitbit. like one of those watches that can. It actually also records your. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It also records your sleep.
This one too.
Oh, really?
It has heart.
Yeah. It has a bunch of stuff.
It's a cheap one too. I bought it for $40. Everybody thinks it's a Garmin.
Really? Yeah, my phone actually also, like, you could put your finger on the light, and there's a sensor on the light that can record your heart rate, and you can do that every so often, and then it could record that and keep track of that and tell you how well you're doing and what you're doing and all that stuff. But it's not that good, it's what I found out when I wanted to get my Fitbit. I googled what are the best fitness watches because I was going to the you fucking Google see, I knew it. Here's a summary from Forbes. I googled it in case it got turned on.
What is it, like Alexa or what?
Yeah, it's Google Assist.
Oh.
So if you say, "Hey Google," see?
Wow, nice. I can't stand that. I have an Alexa at home, and
you can.
I like it because I only play music on it.
Oh, really?
Or I'll mess with it. I'll be like, how much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And it actually answered me. Mm-hmm. It was kind of funny. It gave me the answer.
It's dealt with so much bullshit that something as common or well known as that riddle, I'm sure they made a response to it.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about Alexa, and I found out, was from one of the guys from my ex-work, they had told me that I guess a wife killed her husband in New York or something like that. I forgot what state. And they couldn't figure it out because she kept saying it wasn't her. So they asked Alexa, and it recorded the whole conversation. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Ended up recording that. So she ended up doing time.
Yeah. There's been several cases solved because they had an Alexa or it had some type of electronic that was recording at the time.
Does the White House have one? Maybe they recorded Trump talking.
Right? You don't even need that. The assistants would fucking distribute that shit out for money, but never does anything. That's the crazy thing. Yeah, they've solved a lot of stuff by doing that. I mean, didn't Google have a lawsuit by the FBI or something in government where they wanted to get a key to unlock the phone. Because they found a murderer. He killed himself. His cell phone. They found his cell phone, but couldn't access it because it was locked. Mm-hmm. So they went to Apple and asked them, "Hey, can you make a key so we can unlock this and get the information that's in here? It's vital information." Apple was like, "Nah, we can't do that because if we make you a key, then you can go around and use that key to unlock any phone you want."
Just
exactly.
Like the NSA.
Exactly. So that was a big dispute for that. I think they invented one now, but
did you hear about, what do you think about when Facebook getting accused for Instagram recording people when they didn't know, when they were looking at the app?
Yeah, dude. I'm sure
that's why my phone has tape in the back and tape in the front. Someone asked me, they were like, "Why do you have that?" And I'd be like, "Well," I don't want to be watched. Because I'll be in the restroom. I'll be looking. I don't want someone to be watching me while I'm in the restroom. And they were like, "Well, they can hear you." And I'm like, "So what? They can hear me all they want. I don't care. But I just don't want them watching me."
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're listening to you and they're recording you, and for now they get to sell that information.
Oh yeah.
And make tons of money off of you for advertisements.
That's why I don't really put that kind of much personal pictures on my Facebook. I'll put animals, jokes, stupid stuff, but like I used to put my family on there, but I stopped. My family, like my cousins and so forth, they're putting themselves out there. They're like,
Yeah.
selfies and everything. And, it's like they're tracking you as it is
Yeah.
by your phone. I mean, they haven't RFID chipped our hands yet, but they know people are willing to buy phones. They won't take the chip in our hands, but they're willing to buy phones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The government hasn't caught up with the amount of technology that we're going around carrying, and it's not designing.
Well, it's not that they haven't caught up. I think they did, but I think also too they're very. I think ever since Snowden came out with what the government is doing, I think they kind of like, well, whoa, now everybody knows what we're doing, and we can't really do much about it. Now everybody's going to think we're doing this and doing that. That's why a lot of people start. I'm not going to say everybody, but some people that I've known, they're putting a piece of tape on their laptop, or they disconnect their microphone or whatever it is. They're just doing it because now everybody's kind of leery. And some people are like, well, I got nothing to hide. But what about the day where you actually say something stupid else and they want to hold you against that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're starting to, like we had said, it's we're not communists, but we're kind of like leading to it. It's like that book, was it 1984? They're talking about what the future is. And I remember I read it back when I was a kid, and I was kind of like, man, I'm glad this is only a book. And now I'm an adult, and I'm kind of like, oh man, is it actually happening like the book now? I mean, are we already into that 1984? I wanted to read it again just to remind myself, or even Animal Farm itself, because that's where it's at. That's where we're going. And whoever thought someone like that was going to know we were going in that destiny?
Yeah.
Have you ever read about that? It's a book. I forget what his name is. Buckheimer's. It's called The Grunch of Giants. Talks about the same thing, about who's running the world. And it says it's not the governments, it's actually the corporations. The bigger the corporations are getting, they're running the world. That's what we just said. It's like this now. Corporations, governments. So that's pretty much what we're leading to.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they let Jeff Bezos get to the mogul he is now, where he has more than $100 billion under his name, where like he is our king. If we were in king era, he would be our king, and he would be disposing of his money as he can to get all the things he wants. All the rules that he wants. It's and then like the crazy thing is that we're going through an epidemic. We need stimulus for people to survive and everything. This guy is holding on to a huge chunk of the economy, just sitting there for him to go to Mars or whatever, and he does not pay a penny or any sympathy to those people to then
he's
give away. Yeah,
he is ruthless.
Ruthless.
I heard he sold even some of his shares that he has in the company.
Really?
Yeah, after he got a divorce from his wife and she took a big chunk out of it.
All right.
After that, he sold a big chunk of what he owned in shares. Yeah.
Really? Why?
And I don't know. And that's one thing people were like asking, like, why is he doing this? And then after that happened, they start talking about healthcare, that he's going to go into healthcare. And so now they're saying, watch out CVS, watch out Rite Aid, Walgreens, this guy's going to start selling medicine off of his website. So that's the thing now. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And in a book that I had read, I'll tell you later what it was called, but it explains what the future is going to be from 2020 all the way to 2021. It's pretty much like a pandemic. About solar getting more involved. Pharmacies. Who's going to run the show in pharmacies? They're saying Amazon's going to be like a big thing. Google's going to be a big thing, part of it. It's getting bigger and bigger. They're even talking about, the book talked about cryptocurrencies. I mean, how how they're saying that they want to get rid of money, paper money, metal. It's costing them too much to be making. It's easier for them to do an algorithm to create money than to be making it. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
but if they go with, if they go with the crypto, they might even throw gold to back the crypto.
yeah,
See?
yeah. I mean, in the day of COVID, a lot of people don't want to deal with money, like cash. I don't want to fucking deal with that dirty ass money. They do it off of their phone now. They do the fucking phone thing now.
But what a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know either, when I heard, oh yeah, you can get the sickness from money, that you can get it from the coins. Most of the coins are still made from copper. Copper is an antimicrobial metal. That's why copper is going to skyrocket in price, because pretty soon a lot of buildings are going to shift over from stainless steel to copper as handles and doorknobs, because it's antimicrobial.
Oh, right.
So that's right now, copper went from being like $3, and it's jumping little by little, little by little, little by little. It's moving.
Yeah. I think that once we come out of this epidemic, we will be more germ conscious, I should say.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think some of us are not gonna let go of the whole mask thing.
No.
You'll still see some people wearing the mask and trying to avoid, because there's some what's it called, like microphobes or whatever. The people don't want to be caught up with
touching it.
Yeah, they don't want to touch anything. They I mean, and it's not a bad idea. I mean, some cultures have taken that and ran with it. I mean, Japan, isn't Japan one of the countries where mask wearing is a common thing?
Yeah, most Asian countries are. Yeah, they've been doing it way before America has,
Yeah.
I mean, I would go into like Monterey Park and I would see Asians with masks, and I used to laugh at them. Now it's like, now you're wearing one. It's like,
oh yeah, I see the benefit of it.
Yeah,
and I hear that Japan didn't get an outbreak at all at the beginning of it, and now they're having some cases here and there, but for a while, they only had like 1,000 outbreaks.
Yeah.
With people getting it. Everybody else was just wearing a mask. It's just like that simple
because of
to
the
them.
pollution.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was mostly, because I talked to some guy, and he was some Asian guy here told me, he goes, yeah, they use it because of the sickness, but it's mostly because of the pollution. Why people? Oh yeah, it's they call it, when it rains, they call it black rain, because it comes down with all the pollution.
I thought they were super clean over there. Aren't they like super
I know
clean?
China is like really bad, and they were saying green energy creates a lot of pollution because they have to do all that manufacturing. That's where the whole world goes to, is China. So it's,
Yeah, I know that China definitely is not the number one, like smog control in their cities. Like, I believe one of their cities, along with India, has the worst pollution ever. I mean, like Mexico City is fucking terrible.
Blow your nose, yeah, it's all gray.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of Mexico City where, like, oh my God. And that's what another thing they were saying in when the first month of the epidemic, when everybody went on lockdown, was a couple weeks after that. Like, these cities that had horrible pollution actually started getting cleaner, where like the air was more breathable and everything, because not all those millions of people are out there using their fucking motorcycle or the bike or whatever.
It's all that electricity.
Yeah. And it's like there's some good parts about it. So it's an odd time right now. I in a way, I'm kind of glad that I don't have any kids, to like, hey, this is what you're gonna inherit. Good luck with it.
Enjoy my black cloud.
In reality, right? Don't you have kids? You have kids, right?
Yeah, I got stepkids, yeah.
Oh, you got stepkids,
Yeah,
right?
but they're still kids.
Still.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I
you
love
gotta
my
look
kids,
at them.
man.
Yeah, you gotta look at them and be
My
like,
son's 21, 22 years old.
damn, bro. Yeah, what
My
does he
daughter
say?
passed away, though.
What?
She got sick. Not COVID, but she got sick.
No way.
Yeah, it happened this year. 2 months ago.
No way.
Yeah.
How?
She just got sick. She had asthma and you know, and she pretty much suffocated in her sleep. Me and her mom were separated, and I just, you know, it's you know, still.
Really?
Yeah.
How old was she?
She was 15 years old, man. 15.
She's
Yeah,
suffocated.
and it was funny because it's not funny, but it's just the irony. My ex-wife got up to go check on her. She said something was weird, and when she rolled her over, she
Just still.
was still, and she was like, "Oh my!" She called me. She goes, "Oh, I need you to come over here." And I went over there, and when she told me, she goes, "Oh, I think she died in her sleep." I was like, "Shut up!" Like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I took some time off from work for a while. Took like,
No
yeah,
way.
that was pretty heavy,
That's
man.
terrible, man.
Yeah, it's
Did she have an illness or?
She had asthma. She had like her mom had asthma. Her mom had, when I was with her mom passed away twice in the ambulance, and then her kids inherited the asthma. My stepson has asthma, and I didn't know my stepdaughter. When she was little, she didn't have it, but when she got older, she ended up getting it like really bad. She even had to be on the machine sometimes, and I'm glad that they didn't use that as an excuse to say, hey, you know, she died from COVID. But, you know, that was just, it was pretty heavy, man. It's, you know, I mean,
That's crazy, man. Like, it was she acting normal before and
she was really, what happened was, she was involved in sports and she was fine. And then once COVID came in, you know, obviously, she didn't work out as much, so she started packing on weight.
Oh.
You know, they didn't want us to leave the house. They didn't want us to be in the streets. They didn't want you to be with your friends. You couldn't go to the park. You couldn't. It's just on and on and on and on. And,
Oh my god.
And then I guess when it happened, it was just like really pretty heavy, man. It was pretty heavy.
That's gotta be.
Yeah, and it was. Worst. I mean, at first at work, didn't want to give me the time off. They were like, "Nah, because that's not your blood." And I'm like, "Wait a minute! I raised this little girl when she was a baby, till she was like 12, and then me and her mom split up, and then she used to come to my house,
yeah,
and she used to be texting me like, "Hey, can I come over? Can I come over?" Like, "Yeah, just go on down." And she'd spend the day because, you know, I have her dog. You know, I take care of her dog, and she came over, and you know, and I take her back home, and that shit happened. It was just like, man, dude.
That's terrible, man. That's so bad. It's just, this lockup thing. You know, there's no real good answer for it, but it's really costing a lot of people's lives. There are symptoms to being locked up for too long, and I mean, there's gotta be. This is a very odd time for the world, really.
Yeah, and pretty much after that happened, one of my buddies, his cousins, two cousins of his, died. Almost the same thing.
Asthma?
Yeah, it's just because they're not. I don't know. It's just they had an asthma attack and
at night.
At night.
All of a sudden,
yeah,
he just couldn't breathe,
and it just happened. And then my buddy was, because I told my friend, one of my friends, I go, hey man, I go, my because everybody knew her. My family knew her. My friends knew her. So when I told them, all my friends were like, "Oh man, we're sorry, man. Oh, I know you loved her." And it's like, "Oh yeah, I loved her." Like, man, me and her were little tights. We used to go to the movies. I used to take her to the movies. I used to, uh, I taught her everything.
What's her name?
Her name was Vivian.
Vivian.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of my buddies told me, he calls me. He goes, "Hey, one of my little cousins passed away of asthma." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, like, "What's going on in this world? What, man, this is odd." And it was just like, "Really? Are you sure?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Man, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense." And and it's like, dude, I'm not gonna say I'm over it. There's times where I'll look at a picture or a certain movie. Like, I've seen all the movies with her, all the kid movies. Or she was a big action fanatic. She used to love the Expendables, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So one week, I ended up watching almost every movie. Not all of them, but like what I could in one week. And just, but the thing was, it was action or I just, as a parent,
Wanted to spend
I got
time.
choked up. It was just like, oh man.
Yeah, even if it was a cousin or a friend, knowing a child that small, and then seeing their life taken by this, it's like a needless death. It's like there could have been something done about it,
Oh.
and it wasn't done by incompetence,
No. And I even told my ex, like, "But you can't do anything about it, and I'm sorry." And I tried being there for her, but it's really tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I mean,
Yeah, man, yeah, I don't know how parents do it right now, because I happen to be in a pretty good state where, like, it's all up to me, and I happen to have roommates, and we kind of all are pretty healthy and well off, and I could just only imagine those people that have kids with pre-existing conditions. That alone, I see why people could be very apprehensive about other people not wearing their mask,
oh yeah, yeah, no.
because they don't want any type of risk, because they've seen death before, or they couldn't imagine it. And it's just like, I can't go through that. It's a it's a troubling time right now, where who knows how we're gonna come out of it. You know.
Yep.
It's it's just, it's not a good answer for any of this. Like, what would you have done? Like, you
I don't know. I mean, it goes through my head, a lot. A lot.
Yeah. It's just,
I mean, what can you do? I mean, I tried thinking of ways, but all you do is just drive yourself insane a little bit.
yeah. It's just, it's a life taken way ahead of its time. It's anytime a child gets to live a short life like that, it's just like so unfair. Like, they didn't get to see the world for what it really is. And this is in America, like, you don't expect that here.
No.
We're like the richest country on the planet. There should be a way for us to find a solution for this that helps all of us. It's just, man, it's a depressing subject. It very is.
Oh, I know.
It's a very depressing subject. It's just like, man, yeah.
I'll take another one just to.
Of course.
Yeah, it was. My friends were like, my family, my friends. They were there for me, like 100%. Like, Surprisingly, even I hate to say it, Julius or Julio was kind of like didn't want to give me the time off. Yeah,
They didn't want to give you the time off.
Bob was the one, even though he's a dick, but he's the one that kind of said, "Hey, you have sons, I have sons, and we don't have daughters." And he's the one that has a daughter, and we got to give him the time off because, you know, we don't know what it is to feel like what he's feeling, and it was the whole time. I mean, it's like it's an experience. Honestly, I don't want to even, not even my worst enemy ever put that on.
Yeah.
Because you have to look for caskets, especially for your child. That was the hardest part.
Yeah, and then they charge you like crazy.
It's not even the charging. It was just the fact that you have to go and look at caskets.
And they're tiny.
And then you're looking at them and you're just like,
yeah.
You don't even know what to do. I mean, my ex-mother-in-law was the one that handled the majority of everything. She saw that me and my ex were just kind of like blown. It was surprising because she was just that type of girl that she was very happy. And if you were one of those people that was going through a lot, but you had a great talent, she would tell you, you know what, I don't know why you're unhappy, but you know how to play the guitar really good. And she would like talk positive into people, and all of a sudden they would change. They're like, oh, I didn't, like, they wouldn't think about, they would stop thinking about all the wrong in their life. But my daughter used to be like, oh, you play guitar, awesome. Or you know how to do this, or you cook delicious. I mean, she had that way, and people, I had seen adults that she used to tell that to, and it was like, I mean, at that time I didn't think about it because you hear and you're like, all right, cool, awesome. But when she's gone, and I started thinking, I'm like, man, she changed a lot of these people's lives that came to the funeral, and they're talking about how she changed them from depression to see the other side, to be grateful of what they have. And she was just, I mean, honestly, if I was here, she would have been here with me. That's how tight she was with me. I mean, she was a good little girl. I mean, awesome little girl. Temperamental like me, but a good little kid,
Yeah, man. It's just, it's a child can really impact a person's life for sure. Not only as a parent, but like just a different perspective, an innocent perspective of the world, of what the hardships that adults really go through, that they're willing, or they have the capacity to overlook and see the positive of things. It's in seeing that, and knowing that you're not gonna see that person again or that child again. It's incredibly tragic, man. I feel for you, but I'm sure she was a great daughter. And I mean, I hate it when people said she's in a better place now, but what you want to imagine that, and that's totally deserving. It's man, that I didn't know about that, man. I didn't know that.
I don't usually talk about it. I don't tell people about it all the time, I only tell people, like, I only said it because I don't know. I just said it, man.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's a very touching subject, and I see how you don't want to revisit those memories. I mean, nobody would,
I even have a picture of her when she was little with me. I was carrying her. I mean, like I said, I was her stepdad. I mean, most step parents are kind of like, oh, I got step kids, and nah, but this little girl, she grew an attachment on me, and I grew an attachment on her. And like I said, I came into her life when she was like a baby, and she always looked at me like I was the man, her dad, her life. She talked about, even though me and her mom separate, she always looked for me. Always, she's look, and she's like, "Hey, where are you at?" And I'd be like, "I'm at work." And she goes, "Can I come over?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll pick you up." And by by the time I go home to change, she was already sitting on the porch waiting for me. And I was the one that taught her how to ride a bike, to read a book. I mean, some parents give up when they're teaching them, like especially like math. And I was like, man, I used to get frustrated. I'd be like, man, I don't want to let this little kid down. Like, like my father. My father used to beat me up. A lot of props to my father. He was a good man, everything. But, some parents, they get frustrated. And it's not because they get frustrated themselves and they don't know how to teach people. But luckily for YouTube, what I did was I turned around and found a lot of cartoon math, and I started teaching her that way. I mean, I used to tell my daughter, I used to tell her, you guys like looking at jokes, dumb stuff, but this is also education. This can teach you. And she ended up learning. She ended up getting like straight A's and stuff like that. It's like, awesome, this is great, But, it's just things that just happen. And then you think of every which way how you could have prevented it, But it's like, she should have lived with me. Maybe she shouldn't have lived with her mom. What if it did happen to me? How I was going to react? I mean, you think of every angle and every which way. You don't even know how to come out of it, And sometimes it was just like the time that I took off, I didn't leave the house, only just to go buy food or whatever it was. But like to do anything, I didn't do anything. I just stood in the house.
Wow.
And it wasn't because of COVID. It was because I just didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, that's probably cheaper.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so people drink just to numb their feelings, but I knew as a person, if I drink, it's not going to make it any better.
No.
It's not going to take the pain away.
Yeah.
See? It just, sometimes you just got to deal with it one day at a time, and just.
That's the best you can do in a way.
What I do is I just kept in touch with their older brother, and me and him just kind of like, we talk, just try to, make things better and stuff,
Yeah.
That's all you can do. You can just take the best from one and just move it to the next one and try to influence them the best you can.
Definitely. That that's a good parent right there. You've been a good parent. I mean, you want to be there for them, and even any of the kids, now that she's passed away, unfortunately, you gotta like cherish the other kids you have,
Yeah.
Now it's an even more important token to cherish what you have, because you've lost, you've felt the pain of loss, and that is one of the biggest teachers in a way, because losing somebody, it's something you can't take back, and knowing the lesson of what it means to cherish that connection, it's important, because in a way we're all temporary, we're all just here temporary for this moment at time, and then we gotta leave what we have to the next generation, and hopefully they can do something with it,
Yeah.
And we gotta do the best we can. It's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. What?
I was gonna sneeze.
No, that's good. You're good. But I still haven't gotten the full story of how you got let go. Like, how did they call you up to the room?
Well,
up there at Bob's office, or did they just do it right in the front?
Oh no,
desk?
I got called up.
You did?
Yeah.
And you sat in front of like Bob and Julio.
Yeah, and Mark
and Mark.
Yeah.
I didn't sit next with Mark when they got let go of me. You know that office right across? I should say the conference room across away from the break room, literally, right? The break room's right here with all the snacks and stuff, and then there's that room with the big table and the TV and shit. They brought you in there?
No, I was in Bob's office.
Bob's office, huh? Yeah, they didn't do it there. Okay, and then they sat you down, and then they slowly, it's like, hey,
Yeah, they were just like, explain yourself. Well, I explain myself like a regular person would,
Yeah.
And then,
For what? For what what happened with you and Alex, or what?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Jesus. And then Alex wasn't
I mean,
there.
whether you're right
Or wrong, they're gonna.
no, it's mostly like whether you're right and he's wrong, they back them up. And I mean, it was,
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, when I left, I felt like a relief, like, oh, thank God, like I was being free.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like now you actually have the freedom to get yourself into anything else, or
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was there mostly for the insurance. I wasn't there because I was getting paid awesome or anything else like that. I mean, I always heard it from you, or I heard it from some of the other guys, like, wow, you've been here this long. How'd you deal with Alex, or how'd you do? And even Alex, that told me, because I'm surprised you lasted here this long. And when he said that, I was like, this guy has something up his sleeve. But what happened.
He always did, though. He always had something up his sleeve. He wanted to have always something up his sleeve as some type of leverage. He wants to always have that leverage. And that type of people, that toxic, arrogant and evil person. Toxic person.
You know how I used to have a binder, and it had like the shortcut of how to run the council or the business. I had numbers on there, like a blue binder. I'm not sure you remember
P1?
that. No, in the lobby, because how to run the lobby. It had all these shortcuts.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing, because I was getting bombarded with so much negativity, what I did was I was printing out all these positive things.
Oh, the quotes that you put up in the back and the
background. I had them down. Yeah, I had them in P1 because I needed that. I needed, when I turned on my station at work, I needed something positive to keep me going.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have that, I think I would have blown up. But I blew up anyways. I mean, I didn't blow up to a certain sense where I told them off. I just told them, I go, hey, man, your power stops within the inside of the building. It doesn't go out in the public. And you think you're like this god because they gave you a lead position. I go, you're in the wrong. I go, successful people don't think about destroying people. Successful people think about lifting people. And in your eyes, destroying people is your power, but positive people power is to lift people up. And you're in the wrong. And he didn't like what I would say. For him, it was like he wanted to be the right.
Yeah.
And like you had said, I was in his way. Because I was, even when I didn't try, like when you first came around, I remember you were kind of standoffish. I mean, you were new. You didn't know what was going on. And I just kind of like, I let it be, But it was funny because you would come and talk to me. Then Victor came and talked to me. Then Andrea started talking to me. I'm thinking like, man, that was, and then that I didn't really talk to the other guy because he wasn't there that long, but you guys were there for a while. And you guys were always curious, like what's up? What's the deal with Alex? What's the deal with Alex? And I go, dude, just go with the flow, dude. Just, I used to tell you guys that all the time. Just go with the flow.
I fucking hated that.
Don't bother him. Just if he says this, just go with it, because it doesn't matter what you guys say or what we do. They have his back. And then Victor was more like, all right, but Victor was temperamental, but he knew what to do. And Andrea, well, she ended up learning down the road, wow, I can't really tell this guy what's up. So she ended up being a snitch for him. She was messing up a lot. I mean, a lot. I didn't know none of that. There was a robbery in front of the building.
Yeah, okay. Tell us the story.
This young guy was robbing this old homeless guy.
Right.
there was no words, no nothing, and the young guy starts beating up the old guy.
The homeless guy.
Yeah. And Andrea hears commotion outside. So what she does, she turns the camera down. She's looking around like where's that noise?
And she works overnight.
Yeah, she works graveyard.
Right.
So she turns the camera around and she's like, where is she? She sees something going on. She points it down. She's looking and she sees this guy like commanding this guy to give him the wallet. And what happened was the guy starts pummeling. The young guy starts beating up the older guy, just beating him up, and the guy falls. And when the guy falls, he starts kicking the guy's head. So Andrea grabs the flashlight and flashes the light. When the guy comes around, he's facing the lobby, and he's like that. And then he looks up and he sees the light and he takes off. He takes off running. And what happens is she doesn't go outside to check on the guy. She just goes back to the council and watching him on the freaking camera, watching the guy kind of like he's all messed up, trying to get up and stuff. And she doesn't call the police. She doesn't write a report. She doesn't write it in a report, and she doesn't send an email to the company. So nobody knows what's going on. What happens is Santa Monica PD comes and they start questioning people, I guess businesses in the area, because they don't know what happened. They just found this homeless guy across the street where the Orthodox church is at.
Mm-hmm.
They find this guy passed out, and the ambulance picks him up, takes him to the hospital. He's in a coma. And what happens is they start questioning, like, hey, can we see your cameras, see what happened? And they're like, and so Julio and Alex are there, and they turn, yeah, sure, we'll run. What time did it happen? Well, we don't know. Can you check it out? Yeah, sure. They start looking around. And when they see the footage, the cop goes, oh, because the other cop, it was a guy cop and a girl cop. The girl cop's looking for blood trail, but the thing is, every morning they clean the floors with the scrubbers and the water. Well, they probably took the evidence. So the cop calls his partner and goes, hey, they got footage, the whole footage. So the female cop comes back in and they're watching the video, and they go, who's here? Who watched the thing? And Alex and Julio were like, oh, it's Andre, our graveyard officer. And they go, oh, well, did she call the police? And they were like, we don't know. We even know it happened. And he goes, wait a minute. You're going to tell me she didn't write an email to you guys? She didn't write in a report? And she didn't call the cops? You know what? We need her to come in early. Whatever time she starts. Does she start today? And they were like, yeah, tell her to come in early. Mm-hmm. So she came in early. And the cops are pretty much interrogating her. They're like, how come you didn't call the police? And she goes, well, the Bureau of Security Investigations says we only worry about what's happening within the building. Yeah. Inside the building, not outside the building. And she goes, well, the female cop tells Andrea, well, it's your civil duty as a citizen. You have to report all crimes that happen outside the building. Mm-hmm. She goes, when this guy comes out of the coma, if he has family, they find out it happened in front of your building, and they find out there's footage, they might sue the family. Mm-hmm. And that's when Julio, Alex, and the judge are like, oh, shoot. And to a certain sense, I'm glad I'm out of there, because now they're stuck in a big Molotov that was created by them themselves. See?
They'll be fine, though. They got plenty of money.
I'm pretty sure they'll probably pay the guy after. I'll pay the hospital bills.
Yeah,
and I'll give this guy a few $1 million.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But at the same time, Andrea did do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say that she did the wrong thing, because if it did happen at the bus stop, it isn't part of our property.
Yeah, it's public property.
And if a gentleman was beating up on another guy and he seemed relatively all right, I guess I would still call the cops
you have to.
because there's two guys. One's getting his ass kicked by the other guy. That alone goes to show that
I used to
I
have
don't
the
want to fuck with
footage.
that.
I had the footage, but I deleted it because I was, it's kind of like I
Better
don't
not have this on my phone.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't want. And I was
Mhm.
like, I don't need this. I just wanted to see it so I could be at home, check it out. I showed it to my father. He's an ex-cop, and he goes, "Oh, that's not good." And did they report it? And I told him the whole
Mhm.
story, and he goes, "Oh, that's not good because then that's a lawsuit to whoever owns that building."
Yeah.
He goes, "You guys are," and I go, "Well, I wasn't there. I was at home. I was home sleeping."
Yeah.
He goes, "It doesn't matter. It's just the company itself." Because
Needs to
that
be
person that sold
liable.
the whole thing recorded the video, and it goes back to the people of the company are liable for that happening.
Mhm.
He goes, even though they didn't create it, it was just the fact that they didn't report it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Wow. I mean, like, that homeless guy, Andrea was, the angel of that
Yeah.
that
She kind of
homeless
helped
guy.
that guy a little bit, but, I feel
He
bad.
was already beat up
Yeah,
by then,
yeah.
you know.
The guy had to be like maybe late 50s, early 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
Homeless?
Homeless guy, yeah. I mean, he didn't look homeless, but you can tell, he was,
Yeah.
a little.
He's all bad.
He's old,
Yeah.
And
What
the
kind
other
of young guy would ever beat up on a homeless guy?
someone
What the
who's
fuck?
the guy had to be like maybe in his late teens to mid 20s.
Mm.
Thin guy, but he was like bad. And then
Yeah.
on the top, while he's beating up, he's laughing about it at the same time.
Fucking douchebag, dude.
If I had the video, I would broadcast it.
Right? Yeah, we would have put it up.
But
right
the
here.
guy took off running, so they never caught the guy that did it.
Fucking dumb, dude. Like, that's terrible. Terrible. That person that gets away with that and he knows he's getting away with that,
Doesn't have a heart.
he doesn't have a heart, and karma's gonna get him.
Yeah.
He's gonna
It
get
always
himself.
happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's that's a crazy story. I mean, but you've had some crazy stories happen there, huh?
Let's see. 2 weeks before, I talked about it earlier. I'm not sure where they did a bank robbery
A bank robbery?
at the Wells Fargo across the street.
No, you didn't bring that.
I didn't bring that up.
No.
Oh, dude, it was. I was working with the other guy, and it was funny because I had done graveyard that day, and I had done a pre-shift. I did from like 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And it was funny because the new guy Donald. Oh, he's not. He's already going on 1 year, but he's walking by and I go, "Hey Donald, what's this homeless guy doing?" It was another. I go, "Is that a guy or a girl?" Because they had had something inside his blouse, and then he had a mini skirt, and because he had his radio, so I say it over the radio so they can hear. I go, "Is that a guy or a girl? And are they homeless?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but they are homeless." And I go, "Well, you got to tell them they got to move on. They just can't sit there." Because it was starting to be more guys because they're seeing, oh, there's possibly a woman there. We didn't know, so you got to tell him to move. But before he even had a chance to say it, because he heard it over the radio, the homeless guy grabbed the stuff and just moved on, kept walking. And I'm looking at the camera, and I see all these cops everywhere, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like about 20 cops.
All of a sudden?
No, it was already happening the whole time I was talking to him.
Oh, so there was a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a bunch of cops.
Yeah, already in the background. So I'm like, well, I'm going to take care of this situation first before I jump into the next situation, because I want the camera on Donald just in case something happens. I'm recording it.
Right.
So what happens is once Donald continues with his rounds, I'm like, I turn the camera and I see all these cops. I see all these police cars everywhere. I didn't hear sirens. I didn't see lights. Usually, you hear when they hear the cops, you could hear them right away, like, "Root!" And they make that noise, right? You hear anything. So I'm like, what's going on? I'm checking it out. So I start reviewing camera and I'm looking at it, and at the time when I turned the camera, they had someone in cuffs. It was a guy with a white t-shirt, red pants, and some red shoes. African American guy, young, maybe like somewhere in his late 20s, early 30s. And I go, what happened? Was he being loud? What's going on? So I start reviewing the company cameras. I start reviewing through the whole thing, and I see this guy walking down, 4th Street. And I'm like, okay. And it was funny because he stops, he looks into the TJ Maxx, he does this, he does like a peep. Closed. Keeps walking. TJ Maxx opens at 9:30, but it was 9:21, so they're still with their doors closed.
In the morning?
In the morning. And then he keeps walking. He comes up to the corner and he looks inside the bank. But the bank, I think the bank's open at 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock, something like that. So he looks in, and then he keeps walking down Arizona. And then after that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, because the camera's positioned where you can't see someone walking into the bank. All of a sudden, I'm watching. That was from 9:21 or 9:24. He probably walked in. For like about 10 minutes, he's been in there. And all of a sudden, by maybe about 9:34, you start seeing cops coming in, like slowly. No lights, no sirens. They just start creeping in. And all of a sudden, they start forming a line of like 6 or 7 cops back to back. And they all have their freaking guns out. And then they start going in. And then the SWAT team came in. They open the door, and you start seeing guys going in slow. They're making their way in. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So they're in there for a while, and they finally get the guy out without any bullets. I don't think the guy even had a gun. So I'm kind of like, wow, this is crazy. I'm like, wow, this is pretty awesome. Do you remember the driver or the property manager of Lowell's house?
Yeah.
Well, he walks in, he goes, dude, they just robbed the Wells Fargo.
Really? Oh my God, the guy that was walking up to TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
that guy.
Because he went to go get money and they told him to go away, that there was a robbery.
Oh.
Yeah, so, him being an ex-cop, he's like, dude, run the cameras, run. I go, I'll tell you what's going on. This is what happened. I already ran the cameras. I'm like showing him.
Right.
And he's like, oh, man. He goes, what kind of other evidence can we get on this guy? And I go, you don't have evidence. We don't have anything because the guy's not showing anything. The guy walks past the bank. You don't see him walking in. That he doesn't even look like he has a gun.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh man, he's getting like really excited. I go, easy there, copper, easy guy. Your days are done and over. Just stop. So he's like, oh, so he goes out there like a little kid, and he's like standing in the corner watching the whole thing. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is nuts,
Yeah.
And they take the guy away. So I ended up doing a report on it. Like, hey, FYI, there was a robbery at the Wells Fargo. They got the guy, because they have to know what's going around the building.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, after the day before was the robbery, the old man, which I didn't, the day before, it was like, I think that was a Friday, and I think it happened on a Wednesday or Thursday morning. So I worked the pre-shift on a Friday. So what happened was, I wrote the report, me already knowing what happened. That's what it was. Me knowing already what happened with the robbery, with the old man and stuff. And I go, I better send something because, I'm not going to let this happen. And then the cops come in and they don't even know. They're like, oh, shit, what happened? We didn't expect it. How come we had to write the report? Because right there in the company, it's kind of like a damned if you do and you damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
See? So I wrote the report and I sent it to everybody. And then what happened was they didn't question me. They didn't even ask me what happened anymore. They just kind of like kept it real quiet. And then Alex asked me, he goes, why'd you do a report on that? It wasn't even affected to the company. And I go, no. I go, having prior history of law enforcement, I'm letting the company know that we're having a lot of activity of crime happening in our area. And I think it's good for us to know what's going on because, Lemonade got robbed. Yeah, in May or June, they got robbed. 2 guys came up in Arizona. Those 4 guys, they came up in a BMW, but the camera doesn't catch. It catches the car parking and the license plate. And the 4 guys get out. They go to the freaking Lemonade and they rob the bank, but everybody's wearing masks, the facial masks. And then they jump back in and they take off. And
right.
So Santa Monica wants the freaking footage and they give them the footage. And they were like, well, we can't read the freaking license plate. And Santa Monica goes, don't worry about it. We got that. We got the kind of technology where we can clear that stuff up like they see on the TV. We can clear that up and get the information we need. So I'm thinking like, wow, I want that. I want that too. That's kind of cool,
dude. Oh my God. I can't believe that area is so busy, dude.
Yeah. So we had 3 robberies in that same area.
That's insane, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. And now that I'm gone and everything, because I was telling them and I was trying to explain it to them because they were like making like, they're looking down at Andrea like, how come you didn't write about it? And then when I write about it to let them know, they're like, why'd you write about it? Why'd you write about it?
Yeah.
So
they have no consistency.
They're wishy-washy on everything they do.
Yeah.
That's one thing I didn't like about that place because if you do it right, they question you. And if you do it wrong, they question you. So it was kind of, that's why everybody was stressed of being there.
Oh, yeah. They're a bunch of hypocrites.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now that you mention it, I remember the first time I was at P1, some fucking kid ran into TJ Maxx and stole a bunch of T-shirts.
Yeah, we used to get that a lot there. Yeah.
Remember when I dealt with that? I was down in P1 my very first day on the job. Some kid runs down the ramp with a bunch of clothes in his hand and a bag, and
was like, I with you when it happened?
You went on break, and I was covering briefly, for you, and I was like watching this kid put all this fucking shirts in here in the bag, and I was like, dude, you can't be doing this down here. You gotta get out of here. It's like, oh, just give me a second, and then he fucking takes off afterwards, and I was like, I don't deal with this shit. He's not becoming a danger to the facility.
Yeah.
He's not going in there. So it's not a problem, and Julio was like, "Oh, okay, not a big deal."
Don't make a big deal.
But at the same time, it's like, damn, there's so much shit happening in the area. Then I'm like, that. I guess that's what you get when you're dealing with that many people, that much traffic in that area.
Oh yeah,
it's just so many people. The promenade is just literally on that corner, and dude. I can only imagine what the other businesses in that area are going through, Like,
a lot of stores closed because of COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you walk down the promenade and you see empty. I would just say anywhere from Arizona to Wilshire, the majority is closed, except for the Chipotle. And maybe 2 other things. I think the shoe stores, I'm surprised they're open because they got hit during the looting, like when they came in, and this is what I was told by Alex. He goes, they didn't hit the front of the building. They broke the doors with crowbars and went in through the back and looted all the stores through the back and alley. The cops were waiting for the freaking looters, but they never went down through the front. They went through the back, and they were taking stuff out from the back. And like a group thing, they were throwing them inside of cars, and another car would take off, and another car would come in and just load them up, and that's how they ran the whole thing. It was. They said he saw guys with freaking radios communicating.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that on the news, dude, when they were doing the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and they were claiming that, oh, the Black Lives Matter protests are rioting. They're breaking into stores and all this stuff. And it wasn't them. It was some other group that was organized, that was running through that area, causing mayhem and just breaking shit, dude. And some of them were like Republicans that just wanted to make them look bad.
Well, Alex had told me, he goes, is I asked him, who did you see mostly looting? He goes, I saw some black people involved, but the majority were all white people.
Yeah.
And he goes, I zoomed in on some of the people, and there were mostly white people running out of the Chase Bank with drawers full of cash.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, serious? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, you know where they torched that car right there in Santa Monica and 4th? Did you see that one?
I think I saw something.
I think it was a police car they torched. Yeah.
That was it. Right around that corner, huh?
Well, the chief of police, which is a female, told her police officers don't make any arrests.
Yeah.
Now she's under scrutiny for
doing
that remark.
Yeah.
Because the cops were undermanned.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, the cops were undermanned.
Yeah. And it would have caused more chaos.
You would have had, from what Alex was telling me, he goes, I had cameras on cops, and he goes, there was like 2 cops for like maybe about 200 people.
Yeah.
He goes, if the cops come and they want footage, I could give them footage, but no one's came.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this much. I mean, aside from that, when the Dodgers won,
oh right,
by my house, there was so many people, they shut down the streets. I was coming in from my friend's house, and they shut down the streets, and I couldn't get in. Yeah. And I call Julio, and I go, hey Julio, I can't get in. I go, I'm in my regular clothes, I can't get in. They're telling me to come back. They shut down streets. They pretty much, what they did, if it was a radius like that, they shut down every street to come in. And I go, and my house is right there within that radius. They go come in after after 12:30. They come in after 12:30. We'll have the barricades down. And I'm thinking and it was already like 10:30. And I told, I can't get in. I go, I'm not gonna go home at freaking 1:00 in the morning and wake up at 3:00 in the morning to come to work. I go, it's not gonna work that way. Happened was, with all the people that rushed in, and it was mostly people from outside areas, not within the neighborhood, because there were cars cars filling up the neighborhood. And the only reason I'm telling you the story is because I realized with all the people that the police couldn't control it. And from right there, I was thinking, if we continue, and this is before the election, I go, if we continue like this, with the rioting, the looting, the protesting, no matter how bad it gets, the police is not going to be able to handle it. Not even the National Guard.
Well, yeah. And if all of the people in LA, it's just so many people.
And what was going to happen, and I hate to say it, but I was thinking, well, I'm going to vote Biden because of this, because if this is going to stop the rioting, the looting, and everything else, I don't want to see a revolution. Because it's bad. It was like super, super bad. I never seen anything like it. And I'm thinking man, I'm not ready for war. I'm not ready to see you look at neighborhoods, you got to figure people are running around with guns and bats and knives, and people are trying to steal and rob and do what they can. America, to a certain sense, is their police is undermanned. The National Guard will not be able to handle it. We would have to call the U.S. military to get involved, but it's going to be like jungle warfare, like in Vietnam, because now people are going to hide in buildings, just like the Viet Cong hid in the jungles. And it's going to be a different warfare. So my mentality was, I have to vote for the guy I don't really want in order to stop this, you know? And I think that's what a lot of people start thinking too. They're like, we have to stop this because Trump's president, he runs a second term, is going to get worse. And the police couldn't do it. Portland, they told their police, don't do anything. Chicago, the same thing. Seattle, the same thing. San Francisco got to the same point.
Right.
I mean, LA didn't, because I think LA was kind of like, well, we already went through the Rodney King riots and all these other riots. I mean, we don't want to get involved too big. But if it did happen,
yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. But now, like I said earlier, it's just they're talking about it again. And it's kind of like, well, it didn't matter if we voted for Biden. Now they're talking about it because they're saying if there's more shutdowns, people are, what it is people are just getting edgy now.
Yeah, I heard that that lines for gun stores were outside the store around the neighborhood and shit.
They're running out of guns and bullets.
Yeah.
But I told someone, I go, let me tell you something. And my neighbor was like, hey, we should buy a rat. But my neighbors I never talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we should have a meeting. I'm like, oh, what's the meeting about? Well, I think we should start watching each other's houses, I think we should get a meeting from all the blocks within our radius. Start getting to know each other. Because if we go into a revolution, we have to know each other. We have to vouch for each other.
You're a person in your neighborhood came to your house, said all these things.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're already starting. I have neighbors already telling me, give me your number. I have neighbors' phone numbers that I don't really talk to, but everybody's watching each other now. People that have guns are watching my house. Yeah, it's to that point where they're like, sometimes I'll be leaving and they'll be like, hey, dude, don't worry about it. I'm watching your house.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, in a way, that's good.
It's good. Yeah, it's awesome.
You're involving in your neighborhood and you're watching each other's back. But at the same time, I can't believe it's gotten to the degree where they have to do that. They feel an obligation to watch out for their neighbors because at one point they're gonna need their help. At one point, you know.
And it's also too because of the lack of manpower for police. Everybody knows the police is overpowered. Well,
the drug war will get you there.
And it's funny because I even told him, I go, well, what's going to happen if we run out of bullets? I mean, obviously, if you guys going to be firing off rounds at people, you're going to have to run out of bullets somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to grab the freaking butt of your rifle and smack the guy. I go, that's your last alternative.
Yeah.
I go, we have to find another way where it doesn't get to that point.
Well, the thing about any of that is that there's so many different elements involved in that if it ever escalates to that point, you the last thing of your one of your problems, would be somebody that has more bullets than you. But also you gotta look at your resources. How much water do you have?
Yeah.
How much food do you have? Where do you go for shelter?
Yeah.
Who can you trust? When it goes to those metrics, you're literally working off of what you have in your hands right now.
I've been watching like survival videos on freaking YouTube. No, because you have to think this way. I hate to say it. I mean, we didn't think about it then, but I start writing down stuff, and one of them was like, well, if there's no money involved, you have to have alcohol. in a way, I haven't got...
You gotta have alcohol. Yeah, what do you mean?
No, let me tell you, I'm not done yet. They say you have to have alcohol, you have to have cigarettes, you have to have food. Alcohol and cigarettes is for bartering because no one's going to want to take money no more. It's going to be, everything's going to go to bartering, to trading. Like, oh, I got squash in my backyard. Why I got 2 bottles of whiskey. I'll give you one for what you got right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just, all right, this is what I trade to you, and you trade them.
Yeah.
And it's, or, I got a pack of cigarettes here,
Right.
I mean, you into cigarettes and a little alcohol, just we'll trade for some vegetables and fruits.
Right.
And more than likely, just like in prison, what's valuable? It's
ramen.
It's cigarettes. Cigarettes are very high value in prisons.
Dude, I hear ramen is above cigarettes, bro.
Well, I don't know how it is now, but from what I was told from people, they told me that, well, pretty much anything, because you're trying to find a bartering.
Yeah.
And then, well, if you're a person that knows how to grow marijuana, you can grow that in your backyard and come in with a little freaking baggie. I'll take some of that. And you can have some weed,
Right.
It's like,
right.
or I got some apples I'm growing, and we could turn it into some pipes here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest commodity would be for
it's gonna be food. It's always
definitely
food.
gonna be food, but wouldn't also
meat is gonna be the hardest to get, and the reason why is because everybody's gonna be fighting for meat, and the easiest one you can actually do is grow vegetables and fruit in your backyard. Water is going to be the next level to meat because it's going to be harder. But if you think above, like right now, start preparing yourself just in case it happens. But if it doesn't happen, well, you still have yourself prepared to a certain extent. They have these machines where they extract water from the air, the moisture, and you have water. You just figure if you get yourself the smallest one that's about this big, I think it goes for like $400 or $500. If you can use that and sell water to people, gallons of water, man, it's going to get to that point. Unless you have a desalination device, you can go to the freaking ocean and pull out water and desalinate it. You can, but you have to boil the water. Then you have to do the freaking what they call a rope or paper, and then drag it out and put another barrel so that water drips off, the fresh water drips off into the next bucket. And that's how you're going to do it. But you got to remember, now the resources would be wood and fire. Now, if you don't have matches, then obviously you're going to be fucking doing it the Boy Scout way,
Yeah. Yeah, man. Survival would be very difficult.
It kicks in. We all go back to our old caveman ways. In technology, got screwed.
Yeah. I mean, those people that have generators would probably last a little longer, but sooner or later they're gonna run out of gas.
Unless you have solar.
Right. And unless you have solar, then you'd be good during like the sunny days. But once the stormy days come in, you're just fucked.
Well, you have some solars that actually still get the energy that the sun is going through, the light in general.
Oh.
Like I have this solar battery charger.
Right, my mom has one too.
Yeah, well, it could be a freaking rainy day, and as long as it's still getting light, even light
from
anywhere, it charges.
Right.
And I think it doesn't charge too long, but I think it gives you like 10 minutes worth of energy.
Right.
So it's kind of like shit, why not?
Yeah, and then you start thinking like, okay, it's a time where everything is chaotic. Why would you need your phone though? Like, it's not like you need the internet.
Maybe
the internet's probably
you want
down.
to listen to some music.
Yeah,
you don't have Walkmans no more.
Yeah, I get that. Like the instant gratification kind of things are easy, but like you won't be needing that stuff anymore.
Yeah, if you can't watch your porn no more, you're screwed.
Dude, everything is depressing, dude. You probably go into drugs and shit. Like,
I think you would go into like the medieval times.
Yeah, you're watching the end of humanity. If it gets to that point.
It's like when I talk to like friends of mine or family, I go, I go, I think the TV shows you see out there, like The Walking Dead or whatever has to do with zombies or the end of the world type of stuff, these are freaking training videos.
Right? I saw a meme that said that like kind of what the thing you said about 1984. 1984 was supposed to be a warning. The meme said, not an instruction manual.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm not sure if you ever seen, there's this guy on YouTube. He's a Russian guy. He's like supposed to be ex-KGB or something. He's a wacko. Right. He has popular videos, but he teaches you how to do survival. Yeah. And he grabs a bottle of water and he goes, see, when the sun is shining, you can put it right here and it'll ignite the fire. And I'd be like, shit, I went outside, tried doing it for like a while. It didn't do shit for me. I was pissed.
Yeah, I bet. I seen people do the whole fucking put water in a Ziploc bag and then turn it and make it perfectly round and then do it that way.
What? I gotta try that. Or this other guy goes, you should get a lot of excuse me. You have to get a lot of Vaseline. And wait, I haven't got to don't make that face yet.
Vaseline.
He says, get some Vaseline and then have some Bic lighters or whatever you have and some cotton balls or even a piece of clothing, whatever it is, and just rub the thing a little bit of Vaseline and then you have your wood. You just light it up and throw it in there. It'll ignite the fire. I was like,
really?
Wow,
there's a lot of creative shit out there. I even heard the Doritos thing. Did you hear about the Doritos thing?
Where it turns into an oven?
Basically, dude. But Doritos actually have a long burn time where you light one of them and then it burns for like 3 minutes or something crazy like that.
What? Where, I gotta try it out.
You can light your fire.
I'm gonna have a barbecue probably in a suit.
Yeah, right. Why would you need charcoal when you can have a bunch of Doritos or whatever? You know?
That's funny, dude. That's hilarious.
Oh man, end of the world status would be the worst though. Ugh. I wouldn't want to go through that.
Or you could piss in bottles or like a big thing and then put all your piss in a bottle and grab one of those freaking pills that freaking clean your piss and throw it in there and just re-drink your piss.
There's no way that's real.
Yeah.
I think that's real for like water from a lake or something.
You haven't seen Waterworld?
I guess. Oh, dude. Brother. Guess how many hours we just did?
I don't know.
Dude, we just did 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours? No. Yeah. Damn.
It's a shit ton of time. Time flies when you just get caught up with shit, right?
I wonder what'll happen if we get stoned. How long will we talk?
Dude, we'd be like this. You're like, this is so crazy, this coronavirus, right? But dude, I really appreciate you coming through, man. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm sad that this had to happen, but I'm sure it's gonna open a whole new chapter for you. And I gotta have you on the show again, man. I had a good time, bro.
Yeah, man, I love it.
When things are better, I hope, you know.
Who cares? Even if they're worse, we have more things to talk about.
Exactly.
I think when they're better, you get some good stuff, but when it's worse, it's even better.
We get to bitch about more shit.
Exactly. Bitch.
But dude, I really appreciate you coming through. I'm glad you came in, got to talk to you, got to catch up. Did you want the folks watching reach you? You have an Instagram or Facebook or anything like that you want to share or no?
Nothing right now, but I'll put something together.
Okay, yeah, let me know. I'll take some time to get this edited, and I appreciate you coming through. We'll do this again sometime in the future, and thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Peace.
Boom.
Sweet, man.